It's Friday, thank goodness. Welcome to the show. I am Tom Connors, and I'm wearing green. So you can't pinch me. That's right. Are you wearing green, Andre, or do we get to pinch you?
You probably do get to pinch me. There's nothing Irish in me, so...
I am very, very Irish, so I probably didn't even have to wear green, but just
I don't even think you need to see my last name. It's pretty obvious. And then I think Culture's wearing green, but with this green screen, it's probably messy. No, you're not?
Not visibly.
I was gonna say I think you are, but your green screen is messing with the
No.
color.
This is all black. I'm Johnny Cash.
That was
he's talking about his boxer. That's green.
Oh, yeah. Culture Boss, get in there and pinch this man.
No. That, and let me tell you, Culture Boss, Irish.
Then she better pinch you.
Double.
Yeah.
No, I like you said, not visible green.
Oh goodness.
You want me to stand up?
No, because you're not wearing any pants.
We don't need a Vic moment here.
No, we don't.
Oof.
Or any kind of moment like I'm not. No. But good morning, everybody. I am Tom Connors. With me is also the boss man Andre to my this way here.
Yeah,
how you doing,
greetings
Andre?
Everyone, and happy St. Patrick's Day to everyone Irish and everyone who has some Irish in them, and everyone who just wants to celebrate.
This is the only green shirt I got, believe it or not, is my Cheech and Chong's shirt, but they smoke green, so it's like double green. So
I just like this one because it's a dinosaur on a rocket.
Yours is more green than mine, and it's got a dinosaur on it, so I am very jealous. But
either way, we got dinosaurs, we got Cheech and Chong, and we got green, so I do believe we're covered.
Yes. And also joining us, of course, is Culture Casino. As we pointed out, he needs to be pinched, regardless of his underwear color. And also joining us, a very special guest this morning, Miss Kara Lynn. Now, you've probably seen her on Toxic Femme, but if you haven't, we're going to introduce you to her this morning, and we'll get into her story and all that good stuff, along with the Willow news and more. But good morning, Kara. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning. I am great. I admit I was very slow moving this morning. So I've got caffeine, and we're here to talk nerdy stuff. I'm excited.
Caffeine is a must, and if you need it, we do have coffee injections available. Just ask Six. She's in the back.
Just straight in.
Yep. Inject it. Yep. Because we usually need that for Chris Gore on Monday mornings, because he's like, hello, good morning, I'm here. It's like, yeah, we need to get him an injection stat.
That sounds like Chris.
So.
and also, Tom is used to working all night, both editing videos and being on various streams. So those coffee injections do come in handy.
Tom's too popular.
I mean,
I do not. I drink soda, though, too much of it, and I gotta quit.
Oh,
caffeine's killing me.
I have my vice, and I will not be giving it up.
Oh.
I'm a fat kid, though. I gotta give it up sooner or later. But with that, let's get into the discussion this morning. Hello, people out there in the chat. We've got some regulars. I see a lot of green in the chat, which is also a good thing, because that means we've got members in the chat. I like that. And I see a lot of greetings for St. Patrick's Day. That's right. For those who may not realize, it is St. Patrick's Day. Diddly diddly potatoes, as Brian, aka 70s rock fan, would say. So yes, we've got a lot of green in the chat. People throwing up some shamrocks and some turtles and some avocados. What other green stuff we can find here? And we got top of the morning to you from Joshua Hammond. So thank you so much, everybody in the chat. I see D-Buds here. We got Mariella Neworth. We got Anthony Betts. We've got Rogue Thinker, Ezilla, so many more. Let's see what we got for Super Chats here. Oh, we have another guest joining us. Good morning, Paul. How are you?
Good morning, everyone. Nice to see you all.
Hello, hello.
Paul, this is Kara, and he's gone. He must have accidentally unplugged his something because it says device. Oh, there it is. Okay, there it is. Okay, he's back.
And he's gone.
Nope, and he's gone. And he's back. Okay, I think you're having an issue, Paul.
Boot.
Are you there? Okay, there we go.
I'm going to reboot.
You do that.
Bye.
I was going to say, it keeps bopping in and out. All right, see you in a minute, Paul.
That was like the Macarena on the stream.
Yeah, Macarena. The Chatarina. Let's see what you guys are saying in the chat already. Let's. We've got Callum Lyle who says, if you've got Robert Eggers on this show, would you do it? Well, Andre, I don't think we'd not have just about anybody on the show. Unless they
No,
were
we'd love to have. You mean Robert Eggers, the director? Hell yeah, I'd love to have him, the director of The Northman. I'd love to pick his brain about that. Absolutely.
I think we even tried to get a hold of him at one point, but
yeah, we did.
I don't think we've had any luck yet, have we?
No. Well, we didn't push it enough. Maybe we can push it in conjunction with Nosferatu, which is his next thing.
Ooh, I'm excited for that one. That one looks good.
Me too.
It's got a really good cast.
Yeah,
I know, right?
Kara, tell me your history with Nosferatu before we move on briefly, since you're excited for it.
I mean, I've of course seen the original story of Nosferatu, but I'm a fan of vampire flicks, so it's a win-win for me. And of course, since it's the director of Northman, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah. I do love Nosferatu. I do think that's one of the greatest movies ever made. And the remake by Werner Herzog is a proof that not all remakes have to be bad, because that's a completely separate thing, and it's an absolute masterpiece too, just in a slightly different way.
Yeah, and we can actually thank Werner Herzog for making Baby Yoda be a real puppet.
Yeah, that's true. We got
I love that. I love that they did him practical.
Yeah, but that was all. Yeah, he actually told them, "You are cowards if you don't use this puppet." That's what he said. He told them.
That's what you have to do.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to bully them. They're like, "Oh, we can do it in post." There's just not that same chemistry. I mean, yes, it's a puppet, but there's that it makes a difference. Practical effects really make a difference. And CG lately is just, especially like from what I saw on Mandalorian alone, is just going overboard. And I feel like we've taken a step back in what CG has the capabilities of producing. I personally think it's kind of gone bad.
You're right.
Overused completely.
They didn't have much of a choice with Werner, because he told him that he was going to shoot like 10 Jawas and himself if they didn't use practical effects. So.
Well, I mean, I like CG if it's to accentuate something, but just overly doing it is just it's overkill and it looks fake.
Oh, absolutely, I agree.
It ruins the immersion.
But there's actually, Andre laughed, and he was the one who got that joke. Because I don't know if you've ever heard that story about where.
No, because this is actually a very, very true story. Werner Herzog did that. This was when he was first filming Agire, der Zorngottes, which is one of the greatest movies ever made that very few have heard about, but you all check it out. That's the first movie where Werner Herzog worked with Klaus Kinski, who is also one of the greatest actors ever to grace this planet with his presence. And he was also a complete psychopath and a raging madman. think Amber Heard with male version, and there you have Klaus Kinski. Hey, Paul, I'm just gonna finish the story. So basically, then the two are clashing while they are shooting. By shooting, I mean while they're filming Agire in the middle of the Amazon. So everyone is tense. Everything sucks. They really hate it. This is this movie's like made guerrilla style in the middle of the jungle, and Klaus Kinski is difficult to deal with and work with anyway, but he's really difficult this time. And that's when Werner Herzog, he produces a gun and he points it at Kinski and he says, "This movie will outlive all of us. We may suffer now, but if we do this right, this movie is going to live forever. So you are now going to do this take one more time, and you're going to do it amazing. And if you don't, I will freaking shoot you and then shoot myself." And he meant it, because Werner Herzog is that kind of character. And when in doing that, he tamed Kinski just enough that he was able to do 5 or 4 more movies with him. And he's the only director able to do that. And the best work that either Klaus Kinski or Werner Herzog ever did is what they did together. And for those of you who are listening to what I'm saying, like, who? Check them out. Check out those movies. And you will be blown away by the master craftsmanship that went into both acting and directing of those. And the two of them also made the Nosferatu remake from 1979, which is well worth checking out. And then we're going to have the third one from Robert Eggers. And I'm so excited because that means that we'll have 3 different versions of Nosferatu, and all 3 of them presumably will be masterpieces in their own rights, and 3 very different takes on the same Dracula story.
Story time with
I'm down.
Yeah.
And those are the kind of bedtime stories his kids hear, by the way.
I just remember, I think I was in middle school. We had a Halloween party, and each of the teachers' rooms was showing like a classic like horror movie, like a classic monster movie. And I think that was my first experience with Nosferatu.
Very cool.
Awesome.
Yeah. Very cool.
So, I'm kind of looking forward to that remake as well. But let's see what else. Let's say hello to Paul first, of course. Hello, Paul. Are you working now? Is everything functioning?
Kind of, sort of, yeah. I'm just sort of looking at client email. But yes, hello, everyone. And hello, Kara. I'm glad that I first popped in when Andre mentioned Psychopath.
It was just perfect timing.
What a segue. There.
Is it like Beetlejuice?
Yes.
It's just that's psychopath.
When he wants a psychopath, I come in.
It kind of works the same for Script Doctor, too. If you say his name 3 times, he shows up eventually.
Instead of Logan Paul, you've got me.
Well, you are wearing the Schoolhouse Rock shirt, so we'll let that slide today.
That's right.
Schoolhouse Rockin'.
I don't see anything green, though.
I don't either, so maybe this is going to have to come in and pinch you,
because, us Hungarian Jews, we always like to celebrate them Irish.
I don't know how big of a deal it is in Canada, but yeah.
What is that you're eating?
Astro banana yogurt with granola and fruit in it.
He's always eating something when he comes.
Yeah, he's like Brad Pitt. That's his shtick. He comes in eating stuff.
I dig it.
We got another one from Cal.
12 noon. I don't know what your time zone is, but this is noon, and this is
it's noon for me too.
As I say, I think she's on the same as you. So yeah. And then we got another super chat from Cal Lyle shooting in from Australia, where it's like almost midnight there probably. Says, I would ask him, did you ever think the goat in The Witch would scare people, also making the goat a celebrity? Okay, so talking about the Witch movie from a few years
talking
back.
about the movie The Witch, which is also an incredible movie for those that haven't seen it.
Witch because it has 2 V's.
I'm a coward, so I have not watched it.
Oh, you should. It's not like jump out of your seat scary. It's just like atmospheric.
Like a good like psychological thriller.
It's a thriller. In a sense, it's psychological. I wouldn't necessarily call it. The psychological is not the first term I would use for it.
Okay.
I would use more like a gothic thriller. Gothic,
atmospheric.
Yeah, atmospheric indeed.
I'm not a big horror fan. I can't deal with it. My imagination runs wild.
Well, that and you've been married for a long time.
Listen, it was a girlfriend that actually dragged me to Alien, and I remember before the end, I looked at my watch and I went, "Dear Lord, there's still 30 minutes left." and I don't mean that in a bad way, like watching any of the Disney movies. It's
you were just waiting to get laid. That was the problem.
It was she loved horror movies, and she dragged me to Alien, and by the end of it, I would
put yourself through.
Yeah.
And
it was brilliant. I've seen it since, but that scene where I can't remember what's his name, where he's just under the tube that's shining.
William Hurt.
Pardon me?
William Hurt, I guess.
William
you're
Hurt?
referring to that scene. No. John Hurt.
John Hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, John Hurt, and the chains were clinking and water was dripping on his head. And I'm going,
no, you're talking about what's his face?
Not hurt.
Yeah, not hurt. No,
Whenever
that's
it's coming down from the tunnel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Okay, from
the
the air
water,
vent
and
thing.
it's just a pause, and you're going, get out of there! Like, it's gonna get you, run! He's an American actor.
Brett is the name of the character. Yeah, they said it in the chat, but I'm trying to think of his name too. Yeah, because he's
he's
in a bunch of stuff. Yeah,
Harry Dean Stanton.
Harry Dean Stanton. Yes,
Snakes and Funerals got it. Harry Dean Stanton. So
what a moment! What a moment! And I just couldn't handle it. It was just too much.
Yeah.
And you never looked at air vents the same again.
Well, yes, I plug all mine in my house up. We're freezing, but you know.
No aliens are getting in here.
No aliens are getting in here, let me tell you.
Callum Lyle sends in another 5 Australian. Holy cow, thank you, Callum. Says, from what people have told me about the Willow D+, it's the director's bad fanfic D&D story and an excuse to do his fetish and porn. Well, I don't know what his fetish and porn is. I watched about 15 minutes of it and I checked the fuck out. Actually, I don't think I got that far into it.
I watched the whole series.
Oh, Lord.
Season, and
I can't wait to discuss this with you later.
Are we wanting to discuss this later?
Well, you can give us a brief how you felt about it.
Well,
I felt like it started strong.
Let's just jump into it right away. Kara,
okay, we can do
give us
that.
your review of the full season of Willow. But first, also, let us have your review of the movie and your expectations for the series going in, because I always find that to be relatively important.
I saw the movie for the first time, I think about like 8 or 9 years ago. So it's still like somewhat fresh in my brain, but I personally really enjoyed the original movie. I thought it was a great take on fantasy. I liked the character development in it. But then you jump into the series that they tried to do, and I personally felt like it started off strong. It had good potential, and then they just started throwing in certain check boxes, and it didn't feel authentic. Every checkbox that they tried to basically push in the show, it felt so forced. Every single one of them. It was not a fluid way to add in a lesbian love story. Like, it wasn't a good way to. Well, I think the only person I liked was Alora and Boardman, which Alora is, of course, Alora Dannon from the original movie. She's obviously not the same character, but the same person, but she was kind of that quirky, ditzy, but also really kind of, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna figure it out while I'm doing it. And she had the best humor other than Boardman, but everything else was just forced. It didn't feel good. Like, it didn't feel entertaining to watch, and it was like the most anticlimactic season finale I've ever watched in a show. Like, it was so bad. Like, the whole like interaction with them finally meeting the crone in the final battle, it wasn't well choreographed. The acting was bad. The whole trying to change your future or change the past by going into this thing and giving yourself into the crone was just, I didn't like it. I didn't like it. And yeah, it just wasn't for me. And I'm personally not surprised at all that it got canceled.
I heard that it ended on a cliffhanger. Is that accurate?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, because of where they ended it, there's, I think, they're into like this other world. I'm trying to remember it completely, but it did end on a cliffhanger. But it's not something I was like, oh, I'm rearing to watch the next season and see what's gonna happen. It didn't. it didn't do what they wanted the cliffhanger to do.
No, basically, because I noticed you didn't even mention that it ended on a cliffhanger, which I took to mean that you really were out of it by then and you couldn't care less about what were to happen.
Yeah, I think I was on my phone. Like, I got so bored. Like, and I was trying to like still pay attention to it, but my husband and I both were like, we went in like really excited, like really hoping that it was good because we both really enjoyed the original Willow. And it was a big letdown for me.
Yeah, I enjoyed the original film quite a bit too growing up, and I think maybe I only got through 5 minutes, because when they started bashing on Mad Mardigan, when you basically had her calling him a bad father and husband in so many words in the first 5 minutes, and then you have his kids who act like complete morons, and I was actually aghast at what they did to Allura. I mean, I didn't get into the show to see how she was as a character, but I'm just like, wait a minute here. They adopted her at the end of the first movie like their own daughter, and now she's their servant? What the hell is this? And she is supposed to be like the greatest sorceress. Why
I
is
wanted
she...
to hide her and keep her from the crone.
Made no sense to me.
It
I was like, but you said, as you said, it didn't kind of got left on a cliffhanger, but it didn't, right? It's kind of how it is. But we heard yesterday, the day before wasn't it, Andre, that the news that the show had been canceled? Because we covered it right at the end of the live stream, if I remember right.
Yeah, so we would have first heard this on Wednesday. But before that, I just want to say that real quick about cliffhangers. If it's a cliffhanger, but nobody cares, is it then really a cliffhanger?
I don't know. That's kind of like a tree falling in the woods question.
Exactly. It's like the same kind of thing. So, because what stood out to me in the press at the time when it was released, it was obvious that it was absolutely tanking on Disney Plus, because the cast and the crew, they were all out in their social media begging for a season 2 and begging people to watch their work. I mean, it was so pure, so ideologically driven. How could you not watch it? But evidently, people didn't watch it. And when we hear from Kara, we just heard a review from one of 12 people to actually watch the whole thing, all episodes through. So yeah, no surprise that it was cancelled at all. As I pointed out on Wednesday, this is really a black eye to both Lucasfilm and to Kathleen Kennedy, because this is one of the relatively few properties they have, and it was actively cancelled. They weren't planning on this being like a one-season thing. They were planning like 5, 6, 7 seasons here. And it ended after 1. That's embarrassing.
Yeah.
So embarrassing, in fact, that the director responded, didn't he, Tom?
Well, I was just going to say, hold up. It may not be as canceled as we thought. Well, at least according to John Kasdan, because he put out a very lengthy Twitter post.
Yeah.
That goes on for days.
Well, I mean,
but yeah.
Oh my. You know what? When I see that, you know what it reminds me of? The opening of the movie Spaceballs. How you basically see like the spaceship Spaceball 1, it just goes on and on and on and never stops. And like the first 8 minutes of the movie is just that spaceship scrolling by. That's kind of what I'm seeing right here with this long-winded thing. Shall we dive into it and see what...
now you know why I asked you to read it, Andre, because ain't nobody going to want to listen to my ass for that long.
Before we jump into that, can I say that there was maybe like 2 positives out of the show?
Oh, sure.
Oh, yeah. Go for it. Let us
it ended, and what else? No, I'm just kidding.
So there was what I'm thinking of is there was a fun callback to the original. They had some really fun callbacks to the original that really kind of fed for the nostalgia seekers that enjoyed it. Like there was this one, I think it was in like the original castle where Allura was born, and they actually had some of the scenes from the first movie kind of as almost like a hologram or like a ghostly presence. It was kind of cool. And then I am a diehard Witcher fan, and I hated the show, but Willow's production value was better than The Witcher. That was on Netflix. That's kind of it. The costume design was okay, the lighting was good, story sucked.
Witcher was terrible.
Yes. I was so disappointed.
Season 1 wasn't bad.
But season 2, oof.
No, that was
a train wreck.
Yeah.
Absolute train wreck.
I completely agree. Even with the convoluted ordering of season 1, I thought it was quite rich, and I thought it was pretty good. Although I could have used more Cavill, but I didn't mind. I didn't mind the backstory of the ugly Yennefer. I thought that was actually pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Like, I've read all the books and I've played the games, and like it's a world that I feel like they really had so much potential with, kind of like with Willow, but they just wanted to check boxes and it didn't translate well. And like, one thing with Willow is that forced love story between the princess and her best friend. Like, I can't, like, I have tried to push this show out of my mind. I already can't remember anybody's names except for like Alora and Boardman, and that's it. That's all I can remember.
I couldn't tell you any of the new characters' names, but I can tell you all the original characters' names. But
yeah, exactly. But it would have been a lot more impactful if instead if they wouldn't have pushed a love story between them and focused on more of like true friendship and the power that like having like that person that has your back like all the time. They didn't need to have a love story tied to it. Like, I can understand the love story between Alora and Prince Eric, but that kind of was okay. But the whole love story between the princess and her friend it was unnecessary and it was forced.
Yeah. So you're referring to the lesbian relationship, of course,
yes.
right?
Yeah. Well, we've had to deal with this like forever. I don't know how this power change happened. Michelle Paradis, everyone whinges on Kurtzman for Star Trek, but Michelle really was the architect of lesbo disco. I mean, she's quoted as saying what was it, expanding Star Trek's diversity in the writers room. They kept talking about their key was, what kind of characters do we have? Who else do we need? What more do we need in visibility? Who is not represented? Those were the discussions, according to her. That not that I have anything against gay women. Let me tell you, but that I only mentioned it because that was her focus. That seemed to be the only driving force behind disco.
But just because you're like close to another woman, or like you have strong feelings for another woman, does not mean that you want to be in a romantic relationship with another woman.
Well,
everything is being forced into that now.
Yeah, and the mistake is that they think that showing the representation on screen is what makes for a story. Whereas here in Canada, I know a couple of lesbians in the military, and when you're out doing your military shit, you're not expressing your sexual interests. You've got a job to do. You've got a latrine to dig. You got people to fight. And that's like the complete difference in Star Trek, is that you've got a military vessel where everyone is just it's like a bar. It was disco is more like a gay bar where everyone talked about their relationships, as opposed to a military vessel where they actually had stuff like to do,
duties,
which is what I like about Picard, in the sense that I believe Raffi and 7 of 9 sort of came out, but season 3, they're so busy trying to save the goddamn world that they're just people doing what it is they need to do on the
It's only worse, Paul, because disco is not only a gay bar, it's a gay bar where the music and the atmosphere suck. It's the only one in the galaxy.
They did have a mirror ball, though, in the bridge.
That's it. But otherwise, like, there's no gay bar in the world that would be that tacky and that
No,
drab
no,
and
no.
dour.
So, but this sounds like Willow is suffused with the same Michel Paradis disease, where representation is more important than
A story.
the story.
The
Every woke
representation
production
should be
has
an
some Michel
accentuation
Paradis.
to the
So-
story. Sorry.
Yeah, no, sorry, you carry on.
No, I was just saying, like, I understand wanting to add representation, but you need it to accentuate an already established story. You don't want to just kind of throw
Right.
it in. You want it to be meaningful. You want it to enhance what is already there. And I think that is what people really kind of vibe with, is whenever they can tell it's not just kind of, oh, here's the token checkbox. We've got that. It
Well, that's just
doesn't
bad
do
writing.
anybody justice.
It's just bad writing. I mean, when I had a lot of employees, fully a third. I mean, it's because it's downtown Toronto. Fully a third of my employees were gay. It didn't enter into anything that we were doing as, working towards, my business, making profit, having fun. Like it had nothing to do with it. I mean, you don't see it in your regular working lives. And this is what I don't understand with the people who talk about representation, even on the race side, where somehow you've got to express it. You don't express it in your day-to-day life. You're just trying to get through it and not punch the other person. That's pretty much it.
So, Andre, take us through this soliloquy.
Yeah, let's see what the extremely verbose showrunner of Willow had to say. Now, this is the first time I'm reading it out loud, so bear with me. Dear Willow supporters and vocal opposition, you guys get in here too. Writing to you today, one preposterously, criminally, and immeasurably lucky fool. Really? Okay. The outpouring of kind words, support, and passion for our shabby, idiosyncratic little show has been nothing short of mind-blowing and profoundly moving, not just for me, but for everyone who worked their butts off on it. We're all inexpressibly grateful and thrilled that you enjoy watching it almost as much as we enjoy making it. Even those of you who didn't enjoy it, yet stuck with it for 8 hours to critique each episode and let us know exactly which choice you weren't a fan of, thank you, all 12 of you. That too, I put that in there. He didn't actually say that, but he might as well have. That too is its own incredibly specific form of flattery, and we appreciate it. As a lifelong devotee of Deadline Hollywood, I also appreciate that punchy headlines drive clicks. So I understand how Willow cancelled after one season on Disney Plus is fun and juicy. However, as I'm nearly certain I've had more conversations about this in the last couple of weeks than Nelly Andreeva, of whom I remain an ardent fan, this would be the reporter at Deadline Hollywood who broke the scoop that it was cancelled. Where was I? Oh, yeah. I feel fairly confident that, if asked, neither I nor the folks at Lucasfilm would or have actually characterized it that way. So he's mincing words. The truth is less splashy, but here it is. A decision was made last week to release our main cast for other series opportunities that may arise for them in the coming year. With all the TV and movies in productions around the world, it feels unfair to limit an actor's availability without a clear sense of when you're going to need them again. It's further trivialized by simple reality that the scripts we've been working on require just as many actors from our first season, with whom no such contractual hold exists. Nothing prevented Annabelle Davis, for example, from taking another show, but you better believe Mims appears in every single Volume 2 chapter. If you're asking what this means for you as a viewer or me as the creator, here's what I think it means. due to forces much larger and more intricate than I would ever pretend to fully understand. Production of streaming shows is slowing down across the entire industry, and Willow won't resume filming in the next 12 months. Interesting. Well, hold that thought. But here's what's equally true. With the enthusiastic and unwavering support of Lucasfilm and Disney, we've developed and written what we hope is a brain-meltingly fun, richer, darker, and better Volume 2, which builds on the characters and story of our first 8 chapters. The worm survives. And then we move on to the second page, because we're not done yet. This guy is verbose. Volume 2 is all about courage, desire, acceptance, and the comedy and beauty to be found even in the darkest places and moments. It's about the end of blah, blah, blah. Nobody cares. Moving on. I am confident I
Get
speak
to the good shit.
everyone involved when I say that we'd all like nothing more than to deliver Volume 2 on the scale expected and demanded by the story we're telling. Are we going into pre-production? Not right now. Does that mean we're never going to make it? No. Absolutely not, is what he said. 3 weeks ago, we got the third season of Party Down, 13 years after season 2. Oh yeah, that has everything to do with each other. And then he continues rationalizing. Between seasons 2 and 3 of Atlanta, 4 years. Curb Your Enthusiasm, seasons 8 and 9 had a hiatus of 6 years. Not to mention, this little movie I love called Willow that didn't get its well-deserved sequel for 35 years. And then yada yada, more blah blah blah. As for me personally, I've been working on Willow for nearly 5 years. I've had the privilege, blah blah blah, nobody cares. Moving on to the final page. We are seeing the end now. I know the fandom can be divisive. I know sometimes people say mean things, but I gotta tell you, from deep inside, that has not been my experience at all. Well, of course, you're in an echo chamber. I love all you guys, and I relate and identify with every single person who's passionate about Star Wars, Indiana Jones, and Willow, even if we crave slightly different things from them. I think an open dialogue and fan involvement only enriches these worlds as they grow larger, fuller, and more inclusive. I have the best job in the world, and if you think I don't deserve it, you're absolutely right. No one deserves to have this much fun at work. I love everyone I've had the tremendous good fortune to collaborate with these past 9 years, and I couldn't be more excited for what lies ahead. Ignore the bird, follow the river. I promise it'll take you where you need to go. Love, John.
You know what's funny about those volumes there? They're the same colors as the extended editions of the Lord of the Rings DVD versions.
Yeah, that's
They even have like the same kind of bars and stuff on them.
Well, obviously because he photoshopped them and just
yeah, for those who may not know what I'm talking about, here you go. Boom. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
It is a straight rip.
Are you
original DVD versions of the extended cuts of Lord of the Rings back when Robert Meyer Burnett made them, actually.
Yeah,
that's a Robert Meyer Burnett production right there, and they were amazing, and they don't make them like that anymore. But anyway, now
that everybody's asleep.
Yeah, for those of you who are still awake, you just sat through the rationalization from the showrunner of why season 2 hasn't been cancelled, even though the actors were released from their contracts so that they can go and seek other opportunities. Well, in the next sentence, he says there really are no other opportunities because everyone is shutting down right now. Kara, what say you of this explanation? Do you think it's cancelled, or should we start looking forward to seeing how the cliffhanger gets resolved in 4 years from now?
I personally don't see it happening. I mean, I'm looking at the rating right now, and it got a 2.7.
What more can you say than that, really, right?
It was rough. It's very rough. Critics gave it a 83, but of course, critics are critics. And the audience gave it a 66 on Rotten Tomatoes, which I don't know. It's just, I personally don't see it happening. I think this is some wishful thinking from him, like hoping that somebody is going to have an uprising like people did with Firefly. But we never got another season of Firefly. We had the movie, but we never, it's not coming back. This guy's hoping that I think it's going to be one of those where the fans just demand it. And I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
Chato, what do you think was behind this very long-winded statement?
I have no idea. I think there's just an awful lot of narcissism.
Oh, yeah.
Going on. Hope and fear. I mean, you have to understand that if you've ever been involved in a TV show, the mere fact that you've been able to assemble a cast and get a show going is an extraordinary event, because you will literally have someone signed up and the day before they either break a leg, chicken out, get a better show and beg to get off it. You are always, I mean, actually I find it part of the process that I found most exhilarating is that your DOP leaves the day before your shoot start. You got to scramble for another one. I mean, it's part of the business. So when you finally do get your cast together and you've got it going, it's an amazing event. Obviously, if they are now letting the people go, they're gone. Like they'll never get them back together again.
I mean, I'm looking at IMDb, and even IMDb gave it a 5.6 out of 10.
Cultured, what say you? Are you looking forward to the next season here?
Sure, it's never coming, not in my lifetime, and not in Warwick Davis's lifetime either, because he and I are in the same age ballpark wise, and there's some health problems that come along with as you get older. Let's just put it that way. But beyond
like
all,
not being able to sit through a 3-hour movie at the theater without.
Look, I'm going to say this. I as long as I don't have a water or soda, I can get through an entire.
He's lying. He can't sit through 10 minutes on a stream without peeing.
I got to make sure that I don't drink anything from the morning on before I go to a movie in the evening.
I'm not 80. Okay, I'm good. I'm
heading there. I'm heading there.
That's true. You are older than all of us.
I am way older than anyone here.
Yeah,
no, I think I called this before the show. This is copium. This is copium. This is them trying to feed the masses the bullshit line, because this is exactly what was going to happen with under Chapek's regime. But it's okay since it's happened under Daddy Iger, because they could sit there and dangle this carrot in front of everybody going, oh, we may get a second season one of these days. We all know it's never going to happen. No.
Yeah.
Not in a million billion years, but whatever.
I don't expect it. I mean, right now, and he did acknowledge that, a lot of things are being shut down. This is one of Disney's worst performing properties, not just in the ratings that Kara was kind to bring into the conversation, but in viewership. Nobody watched it. And so
nobody wanted it. There was no excitement.
Well, and
towards the creation of this series.
Like watching the season finale was a chore for me, because I forgot that it was even like coming out on a weekly basis. And I'm like, well, should we just go ahead and get it over with?
Oh my.
Like, that was my feeling with it.
Look, as somebody who didn't even make it completely through the first episode, I can say, congratulations, you have temerity and stamina that I don't possess. I couldn't get past just the incredible insults from beginning to well, not quite the end of that first episode. I'm done. This has taken one of my young life appreciations, one of the films that I enjoyed as a younger person, and just run
it into the ground.
Yeah, thank you exactly.
Well, and even George didn't think there was much potential in it back in the day, because the original movie didn't flop. It's not like it was
apparently there is a book that
there was actually a couple books, I think, actually, but the thing was, George, it didn't sell many toys, and it didn't make nearly as much money as Indiana Jones or Star Wars, so he didn't see it as an
viable
ongoing
property.
franchise, in a movie form or anything like that. So even then, he kind of saw it as like, it was a thing I did, and it's, it wasn't as big as, Star Wars, but it wasn't nearly as bad as Howard the Duck. We'll call it a win and end it there, kind of thing.
Howard the Duck was bad.
I have a love kind of hate relationship with Howard the Duck.
Never watched it.
Really?
It's a movie that's not nearly as bad as people say it is.
I agree with you. But it wasn't Star Wars. I think it shocked me.
No. The thing is it needed to be PG-13 at least. Yeah. And they should have took advantage of the fact that PG-13 was a brand new rating, because the problem is it steals a lot of stuff directly from the comics except for Howard's personality. Like, a lot of the stuff that's in there is from a Howard the Duck comic book, but Howard himself is like defanged big time.
He's sleazy.
He's not as sleazy enough in the movie, is my point.
Correct.
They should have added just a little bit more edge to him, but yeah.
Well, they had the duck titties. Was that not enough for you?
Well, no, here's a perfect point. In the scene where he's talking shit through the whole movie, like trying to get Beverly into bed, as soon as he gets her into bed, he chickens out or ducks out or whatever.
He didn't duck her?
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's not how Howard would have handled that situation. No, they did it for a joke, and I get it. It plays funny, right? But that's not Howard, right? Like, Howard would have went for it. Sorry.
Yeah. But getting back to this statement, there's one, what I think this is all about? I don't think this is like personal copium because he's in denial. I don't think that this is for the masses. I think this is for his circle of friends in Hollywood, because I do believe that this was profoundly embarrassing. Because Disney did not announce that it was canceled. Like, of course, that never happens. No. This was leaked by Deadline Hollywood. Everyone in Hollywood knows. And for Kasdan Jr., the showrunner of this, that would have been profoundly embarrassing. I think that he feels embarrassed going to the club where he hangs out with his like-minded friends in the same social circle and everything like that, because he feels everyone is looking at him thinking, there's that guy who actually got the series cancelled on Disney Plus. It was meant to go for 7 seasons and he could only last 1. Oh, poor thing. Sometimes skips a generation. His dad had all the talent. That's what he's thinking, that everyone is thinking about him. And probably they are. So I think that's what this is about. This is him trying to save face. And so he puts out this really long, rather desperate statement that if he was a better writer, he could have put in 1 piece of A4 paper. Instead, he needed like 2.5 pages. Only to basically get out that, sometimes it takes a long time between seasons. For seasons, and the only time it does that, those examples he were referring to, those series were cancelled and got revivals. That's the thing right here. That's what he's kind of hoping for. When you release the actors from the contract,
it's done.
You don't do that when you think you have a season 2 coming, and especially when you use we're going to give them other opportunities. In this shrinking, declining market right now where everyone is shutting down, apparently, we're going to give them opportunities in that. Yeah, good going there. That's self-justification and rationalization. But I think this is Kasdan trying to save his own face in the industry.
I think you're right to a large extent, and again, it's also trying to perhaps get an opportunity to work with Disney for a 3rd straight failure.
I think he should just have introduced himself as the least talented Kasdan.
Oh, well, there you go.
So then at least we could frame his piece. Then we would get it. I'm struggling. I didn't get everything in the Kasdan gene pool. You have to understand that this is hard work for me. See, then I would have felt more sympathy.
His dad ain't exactly done much of any note in the last few years either.
Well,
I mean, he was one of the co-writers on Force Awakens, for Pete's sake.
But he's got a lot of Lucas legacy, I mean,
he does, but
I'm
never going to take away from what he did in the past. But that doesn't mean he still got it. Like, I mean,
if you get a credit, then that's all that counts.
you know,
know?
I mean, it's just one of
got
those
a credit
things.
at the end of Picard. He's going to accept all the accolades that show might provide him.
Well, isn't this the one that also wrote Solo, if I'm not mistaken?
Yes, I think
Yes,
you're
that
right.
is him.
That is what I was going to say. So this is that guy. Yeah.
Yes, this would be that Kasdan, the son of the one who actually.
There's Jake and John Jr. Yeah.
Right. He's the less talented one.
Well, I again, that's why I suggested that perhaps he wanted a third swing at Disney Plus money or Disney money. Anyway, I mean, that's kind of what that rings to me as. But you know what's funny is, as you mentioned, his brother's named Jake Kasdan.
Yes.
And what did Hamill say he was playing? Jake Skywalker.
Skywalker, I believe.
All right. Weird correlation there. I don't know. Maybe that's the thing.
You got a point.
I don't know.
I mean, look, Kasdan, back in the day, he was a writer who was willing to take chances. Like, I agree with a lot of his issues he had with Return of the Jedi, but he basically said flat out, I couldn't do nothing. It was George's movie. And that's exactly what he sounds like. If you think I'm doing a bad impression, no. That's exactly what Jonathan Kasdan sounds like. He talks like this. Anyway, moving on. Let's get to some super chats. Dark Winter says, nope.
We are bitchy.
I don't know what he's referring to, but yeah. And then we have incompetent and unemployed Alex Kirchman is gone and says, do DC's new movies legit just suck? Lost the audience for pre-gun reboot, or are superhero films genre screwed as a whole? This is a good question.
Is he referring to Shazam?
Shazam!
I think so. So for on that note, Shazam had a lackluster preview last night.
It did.
Brought in about $3.4 million in its preview, which is, I think, over $1 million less than Black Adam in its preview.
I saw Cultured's review of it.
Yeah, sorry. I was struggling. I was struggling to get through that review. It's relatively inoffensive, as Andre said. That was my overall take here, but it is full of modern audience stuff, and you know, I mean, it's all there. I mean, if you turn a blind eye to it, there's a film there that most people will find like they didn't waste their time, but for most people, I think nowadays.
But it's one of the last films of the previous regime that was filled with this woke nonsense.
Will I enjoy it more than Black Adam? Because I was so bored with Black Adam.
Yes. The problem, and I didn't say this in the review, but it's very predictable from beginning to end. Because they're really trying to earn the audience's appreciation. The CGI, I'm going to say this, the CGI far better than what we've seen from the MCU recently. Still not perfect, but much, much better. And I did enjoy the introduction of monsters, which at times I think must have been also represented in physical form, like as a practical effect that maybe they overlaid. But I
actually know somebody who worked on the original Shazam.
Yeah.
So like I went to go kind of support him. And and I don't know if he's involved with this one. I didn't look to see if he's part of the creature concept on the second one.
It is, the creatures are good enough. I mean, really, honestly, and there are 3 times that you will legitimately laugh in this film that are actually the jokes actually land.
Well, Klobby and a few others have already said that it's better than the first one. So.
And I think that's largely true, but I didn't appreciate the first film very much. So again, you know, it's a burden because the audience asked me to go watch it, so I went to see it. But I just
did the audience pay for it?
No, but technically neither did I, so it doesn't really matter.
Oh,
but yeah, I mean, I always acknowledge if I, but anyway, the overall though, like you said, it's there. I said in my review at the very end, that wait for streaming. It's probably.
And how does it compare to any of the MCU movies from 2022?
On par.
Dude,
with
on par with the Eternals.
it's okay. It's more.
Well,
Okay,
Miss Marvel. I hated Miss Marvel
Okay,
or Captain Marvel, whatever the hell it's called.
It's better. Okay, so it's better than the Eternals, but that's not a high bar.
No,
I
I
mean,
get it. I get it. We're being whipped into insomnolence. And believe that. You know,
I still have avoided watching Eternals.
You good?
Oh my god,
it's mind numbing.
So shockingly bad. That's
it's a big
I will say it was not as offensive as Captain Marvel. That remains my least favorite Marvel movie. But
I'm right there with you.
The Eternals is a worse movie. So Captain Marvel more offensive, but the Eternals objectively worse.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
No, it does, and I would say that. But look, I mean, I'm going to say this: it's better than Ant-Man and Wasp: Quantumania. Again,
I was really excited to go see that, and I still have not done it.
Wow.
Just because I've seen a lot of the stuff that's been written about how bad it is, and it makes me sad because the original 2 Ant-Man movies were fantastic.
I like them too.
I loved Ant-Man and Ant-Man 2.
Yeah,
I think they were great.
But they forgot what that particular character was all about.
Street level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, street level. It's a street level character, and for whatever reason, they gotta put every single one of their characters into this giant, bizarre arc. And they also forget just how comic books were written back in the day. Anyway, I've been on about this already.
Yeah, it's just anyway. Getting back to that film, somebody asked in the chat if it was better or worse than Willow. It's better than Willow, but again, you're setting the bar really low, folks.
I know.
It's like,
I mean,
it doesn't take much.
I mean, maybe we should have a whole new scale. Is it better than having a 12-volt battery attached to your nipples?
Some people like that.
I guess it depends on what you're into.
Well, I guess so. You're right. So yeah.
We don't kink shame here.
I'm just trying to find a new scale because I mean we've lost our scale. I mean we can't. Is it better than Eternals? Better than Shang-Chi? In many ways, I thought Eternals was. I could sit through and watch that compared to Shang-Chi. That was just.
I liked Shang-Chi.
I hated.
I couldn't watch either.
I thought it was okay. I didn't like Awkwafina in it. She was too forced. But I thought the visuals for Shang-Chi and the what you call it, the combat, the choreography was good.
Are you a fan of Hong Kong Kung Fu? Wire movies, that stuff.
I mean, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I've watched a lot. And so this movie would have been way better if there was no CGI in it and it was 100%
wire work
and
I mean, that's why I really enjoyed the scenes with the mom and the dad, was because how beautifully choreographed that was.
And that was very Crouching Tiger.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think the whole point there is that Shang-Chi, what I pointed out at the time, it's not one movie. It's 3 different movies rolled into one. And one of those movies is a really good one. And that is the movie about the mom and the dad.
Yeah,
that's a really good movie. I mean,
I would watch just a movie about them.
Exactly. That's what I mean. You could just skip all of Shang-Chi and all the other subplots, Awkwafina and stuff. Just focus on the 2 of them and their story. And there you have a movie. Because that's basically like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon with a little bit of food.
It was. I agree.
That's a good movie.
Turning the ninjas into CGI ninjas as they were battling on the outside of the skyscraper on the scaffolding was interminable.
Well, that's what turned me off right away, Paul. The first 5 minutes I'm watching it, and there's this fight, and everybody's CGI.
I know,
and I could tell. And I'm like, that turns me off instantly, because part of the appeal of kung fu films,
absolutely,
is the stunts, they're like a dance, or whatever.
Yeah.
There's all that kind of the choreography
and all that.
Movie. Exactly.
I was just about to say
movie.
anything Jackie Chan.
Well, and that's how his stuff is all set up. That's the whole gimmick, right? So to me, it's like you miss the point if you're doing all that crap in CGI. But anyway, we need to get through some of these super chats so we can get to Kara's story. Dr. Long Dongler sends us a thumbs up. Please hit that thumbs up if you haven't already. We appreciate that. Kenneth LaRock has been a member for 22 months and says, good place, time of the day here, panel and chat. There you go. So he means like good afternoon, good day, whatever. Yes. Thank you for that. We got Ryan who sends in 20 euros and says, these reboots of beloved IPs like Willow are just grotesque Frankensteins that need to be put down mercifully. You ruined Willow and ruined my childhood, so please stop.
I agree, but I think Andre needs to say Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Frankenstein. Yeah, like these things are all Frankensteinian abominations, and they need to be put out of their misery.
There we go.
I am not a monster. I am not a thing. I am a man.
It's funny. That's pretty much what the guy wrote in his like 2.5-page copium.
So no one here is going to be a fan of the reboot of Time Bandits?
Oh, God, not even Gilliam. Did you hear that? He walked the hell off the set. Did you hear about that?
What do you mean? He was on the set for...
That's the rumor, is that somebody said that he was on the set and he walked off pissed.
He went on the set only so that he could walk off it pissed.
Yeah, I don't see why he was...
He's one of the executive producers, that's why, but yeah.
What?
By name only, basically. Okay. Well, because he made the original, yeah.
Credit, sure. So he didn't like what Taika Waititi was doing.
From the grapevine, the rumor is he is not happy.
Well, what's his name from Willow is now available as a tiny person.
Warwick Davis, that's true.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, there you go. This is a very good point, actually.
Although
even Ricky Gervais says that pound for pound, he is the funniest guy he knows. Warwick Davis is.
Oh, that show they did was great. What the hell was it called?
Short Me or Little Me, or what was it called again? Like some pun in the title. It's a series from...
I know. Warwick Davis is the star, and it was on...
Warwick Davis has stopped being funny as he's kind of become...
Life's too short.
Yes, exactly. Life's too short.
Warwick Davis has not... The interviews he did during Star Wars, the early Star Wars, the man had the typical British wit, and that seemed to have vanished in all of his promo work for Willow.
I don't know if he was really into it. That's why, because I think he was realizing then.
I think so. But for those that have not seen Life is Too Short by Ricky Gervais, which is kind of like a mockumentary about the life of Warwick Davis, go check it out and thank us later. Because
I love me some Ricky Gervais, so I need to watch that.
And I'll tell you right now, hands down, Warwick Davis does one of the best audio commentaries I've ever heard. Listen to the Willow audio commentary. He's great in it.
I think I was watching. I've been on a rabbit hole of Jimmy Carr shows on YouTube lately. I think Warwick Davis was on one of the big fat quiz show, or I think something like that. I think he was on one of the episodes that I was watching because I was on a Russell Brand kick. Yes. I was watching Russell Brand and Noel and the pure chaos that ensues, and I love it.
I think
he was on one of those.
Yeah, I fell into that same rabbit hole. So I know you watch that and then you go like, oh, I got to see this some more. So
yes.
It's amazing.
Oh, yes.
But on that note, Hillis Mallory says, Willow being canceled is like saying Star Trek is doomed. Duh. Have more interest in playing arcade game via emulator. Yeah, I think it was inevitable.
Yeah.
London 1965-7 says, drink to the famous Irish explorer Marco Polo.
Nice one.
I can't find me drink. Mr. Tickle Trunk says CGI should be used like makeup. Don't cake it on. Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Very true.
Very few directors know how to actually use it nowadays. Midnight Sun says, I heard Ant-Man 3 toys still not released. What the fuck? I haven't seen any. Now that you mentioned that, Midnight Sun, I have not seen a single Ant-Man toy in stores.
I know they were polishing up the 6th scale stuff at the bigger toy, guys, but I hadn't seen anything yet. That's weird.
I'm on Big Bad Toy Store all the time. As I say, as I have a huge box of statues that just arrived this morning. And I haven't seen anything for Ant-Man on there.
That's weird.
No, I didn't even think about it until he just brought this up here. Yeah, that's interesting. Action Com says, speaking of Klaus Kinski, did you watch the movie Creature? Wahahaha. Andre, this is for you, I believe. Or
Kinski has been in so many shit movies because the guy, he was so unpretentious. He knew that he was the greatest actor there ever was. But you know how he described himself? He described himself as a prostitute, and he will work for the highest bidder, no matter how shit the movie. So if you were making movies in the 70s and the 80s when he was active, and you could pay his fee, and if he had multiple offers, if you could outbid the other one, he would come work in your movie, and he would be amazing even if the rest of the movie wasn't. So have I seen him in Creature? I cannot say that I have, unless that's an alternate title for that like snake thing where you have like a green mamba or something running around the house. But I'll give you another example of that. He was actually offered a part in the first Indiana Jones movie, and he declined it because someone else offered him more to be in another movie that's since completely been forgotten. It was paid more at the time, so he went with that.
Wow.
So yeah. But
I think that movie is known by other names. I'm looking right now because I think I have it actually. I could probably hook you up, Andre.
Can I just say I appreciate the Lethal Weapon picture that Action Com has?
Yeah.
Action Com is awesome.
Yeah, and I think ActionCom does all the timestamps and stuff.
He does. ActionCom does indeed do all of the timestamps. So everyone, if you appreciate the timestamps later on, I know I do, then ActionCom is the man to thank for them.
No,
what were you looking up, Tom?
Movie. I have a different movie called Creature that doesn't appear to have Klaus Kinski in it, so it's different.
But there's so many movies called Creature.
Exactly, yeah.
So yeah.
But I know it was like
Peter Benchley's Creature, the one from the guy who did Jaws, and that one does have William Hurt.
The thing is funny about it because I thought he might have been in it because it is a German movie, but he's not in it. So.
Yeah. Anyway, there's no shortage of Klaus Kinski movies. The good ones, they are a little bit shorter supply.
I even have that crappy Nosferatu sequel that you said is crappy.
Yeah, I told you it was crappy. Nosferatu in Venice.
I haven't seen it. I just said you said it was crappy. I haven't seen it yet. Yeah. I just have it. Yeah. Old Gamer 72 Cutlass has become a member. Thank you so much. Bryant Barth has been a member for 3 months and says, question, have you seen the Fitzcaraldo? Sorry. Also, what if Klaus Kinski was working in modern Hollywood? Okay, so Fitzcaraldo, I have not.
Fitzcaraldo is another masterpiece because it's a story based on a real story in history where you had like this crazy eccentric guy. Again, this is in the jungles of South America, and he wants to move this huge, massive boat from one river to another river the short way. So he wants to carry it, or have the natives carry it over a hill.
I know this movie, yeah.
Rivers. And you know how they filmed it? Again, this being
didn't a bunch of people get hurt and killed during the making of this?
Yes, people died during the making of that movie, and they got maimed for life and everything because we know how they filmed it. Again, this is
practically is how they filmed
Herzog. And so what would Werner Herzog do when he is trying to make a movie about an event where some crazy guy had a bunch of locals literally carry a boat, a huge ass boat, across a mountaintop to take it down to the other river again? Well, he repeated it. He got a boat exactly like it, and he went to the place where it happened, and he basically got a bunch of locals said, okay, we're not going to do it now, I'm going to film it.
Yep.
That's the movie.
Like I said, practically. That's how he did it.
Yeah, he did it practically. No CGI there. That was blood, sweat,
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
With emphasis on love. Sorry.
In fact, I think if I remember right, reading somewhere that movie has the biggest body count of any movie in history, I believe, which is why I'm familiar with it. Like more people died making that movie than any other movie. Yeah.
People lost limbs and everything.
Yeah.
And if Klaus Kinski was working today in Hollywood, he wouldn't, because he'd have been canceled a billion times.
A long time ago, yeah. No way.
And Mr. Esquire sent us $50. Well, thank you so much, Mr.
Very generous.
Sending some love to this crew. Also, hail Andre. Well, thank you.
Yes.
And hail one, hail all.
And then Chris Benavides, if I'm saying that right, says, Andre, Herzog's Nosferatu is the best Dracula movie. I think he'd probably agree with at least most of that statement, I suppose.
You know, that's actually a whole stream just to debate which is the best Dracula movie.
There are so many.
There are so many, and I just wish you could kind of like Frankenstein the best of them together to make like one ultimate.
Well, the beauty of it is the Angry Video Game Nerd went through all of them, and he like did a list in the order of the most accurate.
Yeah.
So we could probably start from there.
Yeah.
Like going from the ones that were the most true to the book, then to the other end, basically.
Yeah. And you'll note that he also gave extra praise for the movie that I highlighted to you at one point there, which would have been Jess Franco's Dracula from 1970.
And I picked
as
that up.
The one that actually gets the visual presentation of Dracula right. No other movie has ever done that apart from that one. Beyond that, yeah, I would say that Nosferatu is definitely in contention for best Dracula movie. Don't know that I would put it at a number one spot, but it is in the top 3.
Yeah, I'd probably say that. And I do have a very special place for Bram Stoker's, though, the Francis Ford Coppola directed one, but I know that one's one of the lesser accurate. But like,
we all know Blade Trinity is the best Dracula movie.
Of course, yes.
Of course.
Yeah, so awesome. So awesome. I have not been able to view it since. My eyes have not been able to handle any awesomeness. So awesome. The Union of Amateur Strategists says, for Paul, are you here, Paul? I think he had to step away.
Paul had a call, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll come back to that one. So hang on to that one, 6. Mario Trillo says, every time Andre goes into story time, I get the image candlelit lighthouse with some massive freshly killed animal on equally massive table. Well, it is kind of like story time.
Well, barbecue is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I killed it, you clean it and cook it. And I will tell a story. Speaking of stories, let's break there and talk to Kara a little bit, because you have a story, Kara.
I've got a story. A little bit.
Yeah, so Andre, we did a short version of your story from Toxic Femme on our live archive, but I think we need to dive a little deeper into your experience in the world of being canceled. So for those who may not know, it doesn't take much this day and age to be canceled. And when we tell these news stories about when it happens, some people kind of shake it off like it ain't no thing, but really it is. It takes very little for it to affect people's lives and flip them upside down. So Andre, take us away here.
I don't think there is too much for me to go through here. I think it's more important to hear it from you. So for those who are watching who may not know, Kara, tell us, what was it that you used to do, and what was your high crime that led to your not being able to do that anymore?
So I was the community manager at Limited Run Games. My crime was a tweet from 7 years ago, which was 5 years before I had ever even heard of Limited Run. And basically, it was a tweet. It was a tweet regarding the whole bathroom debate that was going on. And basically, I just made a statement saying that people who are unsavory would use the excuse of being a gender they are not, to insert themselves into vulnerable areas for women. It was that whole debate. Wasn't even comparing like trans individuals to perverts. It was perverts using the trans identity as an excuse to prey on people, because that's what a lot of sexual offenders do, is they put themselves into positions and jobs that get them closer to the people that they fancy.
Well, as a woman, you were basically weighing in on your opinion of this whole gender neutral bathroom thing, it sounds like. And to give some context to that, though, the only reason that this tweet was dug up from 5, 6, 7 years ago
is because I liked Hogwarts Legacy.
I was going to say, I think that needs to be pointed out first of all, because I mean, I as a woman, I think you have every right in the world to express your feelings on this, on having men in your bathrooms, whether they pretend to be a woman or not. That's, you know, neither here nor there. I think you have the right to say that, look, if you're not a natural woman, maybe I feel this way about you being in my bathroom. That's your opinion, and you have that right. But evidently, you don't have the right to have that opinion when you work at limited run games, nor do you have the right to have the opinion that Hogwarts Legacy is an exciting game, or a game that you're excited to play, because that's what's set this whole thing in motion.
Is a friend of mine asked a question and was just like, hey, like, what is everybody's like legitimate like feelings about this? And my tweet was, I'm personally very excited about Hogwarts Legacy. It is checking all the marks that I'm looking for in a Harry Potter game. That was the tweet, because it's got beautiful visuals, combat looked cool, the story looked interesting. Like, I had always wanted a good open world, Wizarding World game. Something, I've been a Harry Potter fan since I was in middle school. So it's been a very long time. And that was what sparked it all. Personally, I'm not 100% sure. It's just the timelines just kind of, it's hard to not put 2 and 2 together, because it was like 8 days after I had tweeted that is when everything went down, is whenever the mob came at me. And so basically, I'm not allowed to like Harry Potter, or else I am transphobic. And even though I stayed out of politics completely, and because I knew I was representing a company, I stayed out of everything. It's like, you could go through and look at every single like and on my page, and see what content I did or didn't interact with. And that was the main thing. Oh, and they didn't like that I followed like 6 conservatives out of the 1,600 people that I follow on Twitter. That was it. Which a majority, a good 95% of the people that I follow on social media are more left-leaning, because I feel that it is good to have a healthy balance and not live in an echo chamber.
Boy, I missed a lot. Could you start from the beginning again? No, don't. I kind of got the gist. There is no win.
No, there is no win.
Yeah. So basically, an individual then decided they were going to make it their mission to go after you, and they dug through all your tweets and all this other crap.
7 years of tweets.
To do so. And as far as we know, this individual doesn't even work for the same company or anything like that, but they just started a tweet online. They got a little bit of traction, and the next thing you know, you're fired, basically, right?
Mm-hmm. All within like, I got the first message saying that it was going around at like 9:30 in the morning, and by 4:30 that afternoon, I was fired. There was no, like, they said in their tweet, because they made it public that they fired me, that they had done an investigation, and no investigation was done. They never reached out to me. They never asked for my side of the story. Their decision was made before I went into that call. And it was very frustrating.
Yeah, no, the decision was made the moment the first key decision maker saw that tweet, thinking, oh my God, we might lose one sale here. And that one sale on Twitter translates to Lord knows how many in actual reality.
So 0 sales. The irony in all of this is that the unwashed mob aren't the consumers for any of the things that they complain about. That's the joke, that they don't watch Star Wars. They don't watch Lord of the Rings. They don't care. They don't play games for the most part. And so you are the famous Kara Lynn.
I'm not famous in the slightest.
Well, where
she doesn't like to think so. She's humble, but no, we point out the facts that yes,
you're a marvelous, wonderful person. Where are you now?
So currently I have been just kind of getting into content creation. I have been streaming on Twitch Monday through Friday from typically like noon to like 5 p.m. Eastern. I, of course, had to go and buy Hogwarts Legacy because I wanted to play it. I wasn't going to let somebody bully me out of playing a game that I have been excited about for years. I've never been the type of person to bend to a bully, and I've never agreed with bullies, and I don't agree with children throwing tantrums because their feelings got hurt. I don't agree with it. And I wasn't about to let them make a decision on what my content would entail or what they feel. Because if they don't like my content, they don't have to look at it.
And have Limited Run Games ever contacted you since?
No, I do have a couple of friends who still work in the company. I have 2 people of the 100 people that work there. 2 people reached out to me, and apparently there are a couple factions within the company right now. The Kara's a bad person, and the Kara did nothing wrong. And yeah, it's been interesting to get the tea about everything that went down after that happened, because apparently there was a big meeting that Monday saying I was not fired for liking Harry Potter. That what the meeting was about.
What kind of conversations did you have with your husband?
I'm sorry?
What kind of conversations did you have with your husband around this?
Well, he really helped me kind of, I mean, my husband's in the chat right now. He really helped kind of help me rationalize it. He was ready to go up to the office and have words. My husband is a big guy, and he does not do well when people make me cry. And he was ready for me to take legal action. And there he is, right there.
Husband shouldn't be okay with that, of course.
He says, you better say nice things.
Well, no, but of course, here's the tweet in question that they went back and claimed that was the real problem, evidently.
That was it.
But yeah,
that was all it was. But the thing, I was going through and reading comments within that, and of course the Reset Era forum, that kind of was them doing everything that they could to spread it. And everyone was like, oh, she's actively being involved in spreading hatred and making sure that everybody knows that they are that trans people should be wiped off the world. I was like, I don't care. I was like, I don't. I actively stayed out of politics. The only thing I think I was even somewhat vocal about was my dislike of cancel culture in general. That's it. That's the only political thing that I think I've spoken about in the last 3 years on my personal social media account. It's not even like I had liked anything from like the main account or said anything in a live stream or said anything to any of the developers that we worked with. It was
But you're trying to
completely,
rationalize something that's irrational.
it is completely irrational.
It is an organism completely unto itself. These people are playing out some kabuki theater. Like when my daughter was bullied, I told her the people who are bullying her are reading from a script that's hundreds of years old. They are not actually, you think they're rational and thinking and bullying. No, they're actually repeating what other people have done. So whenever they bully you, take yourself out of it, pretend you're honest in the audience and looking at them on stage, reading lines other people have written. The next day, the girls came by, knocked her pencil case on the ground, and she just started laughing out loud because she did exactly what I told her to do. And the girls were so flustered. So the part of the problem in this entire dialogue is that we're actually treating these people as real. They're actually NPCs.
They are.
And they themselves have no control over what it is that they're saying, because they themselves have got to live up to the expectations of the other people that they're hanging with. It's called transactional analysis. You cannot differ from what their group believes in by one iota. And I actually,
if you're not all in, you're evil.
And yes, and look at, JK, for we're talking about her. She was ultra left until she transgressed the unwritten law. And we did actually this experiment in sociology class. We would go into a group of individuals, listen to what they were talking about, and just make a statement that slightly disagreed with it. So I actually did this experiment. Walked into a bunch of guys talking about how bad Chrysler products were, and I went and I'm listening to them, and they didn't know me, and I said, well, Chrysler makes one or two good things. Bang, it shut everything down. I was not allowed really to continue. This has been proven psychologically as a thing. It's fascinating, actually. The trouble is these assholes who are doxing you and think that they're actually the good people by yelling.
They're hypocrites.
They are but they don't see that.
They don't see it.
No, they don't see that. And the biggest, to me, the biggest crime in all of this is that this has been enabled by left-wing feminists.
And the fact that companies are bending to it,
correct,
just emboldens them even more.
They just need to tell them to go
shut up.
There you go. That's the word.
That's it.
And that would shut everything down.
Huh?
It would shut everything down if everyone just said stop.
Yeah.
But they
can't. If the companies just basically just went like, hey, shut up. You do not make the internal decisions of a company. You have no power here.
Ooh.
Like, oh no.
Well,
why?
Be careful because someone might, set a house down on you, right?
I don't care.
You have no power here.
And I don't know whether Penguin is the same. Penguin Publishers is the same all over the world. I mean, they had an issue recently with Roald Dahl, but here in Toronto, they publish Jordan Peterson's Manifestos of Hate. I think
I know who Jordan Peterson is.
Yeah, so they published Jordan Peterson's benign silly books, and a whole bunch of that. So the most recent, the second book was coming out, and the staff caught wind of it, and I don't know how much of them and how many of the staff are woke dipshits, but they demanded an audience with the publishers, demanded that they talk about this terrible book by this warlord Jordan Peterson. And I believe, based on anecdotal discussions I had with other people who a third person remembrances. The publisher said, maybe out of all the books that we publish every year, only 2 make enough money to pay all your salaries. Jordan's is one of them.
Sounds about right, too.
That was exactly the right thing to say.
It was. And like the thing that really cracked me up is we had done some pretty controversial things, like published some pretty controversial games physically at LRG. And there's a lot of people coming at the company because they were doing those games. And my direction was to mute and move on. So it just wasn't the same case whenever they were coming after an employee directly.
Well, you were called celeb. You were the flavor of the month.
Yeah.
Let's get into that for just a moment here, because I'm glad that we've been able to here at Midnight's Edge play a role in your road to coming back from cancellation, because that's kind of what happened. So what is your advice to anybody who may find themselves in the place that you found yourself not too long ago? Like, what was it? First of all, what was your reaction to it all? And then secondly, how have you been able to move forward since?
So the main thing I did was my husband made me put my phone down and we went for a walk. After I got fired, we went for a walk, and I just tried to disconnect. I did not immediately make a statement. I put it away, and I wanted to really sit down and kind of rationally think about everything and not let some angry emotions just immediately come spilling out, because that's what I felt. I wanted to be angry, but I know they wanted that reaction, and I wasn't going to give that to them. So I muted and I moved on. And luckily, I had already had a plan. I had already had a trip planned that week to go home to go see my family for my sister's wedding. And that was the kind of the main thing. Was I've been through some crap growing up, and I know what doesn't matter in life. I've had a lot of losses, and some random person on the internet who's never going to meet me in person, their opinion does not, it doesn't dictate my life or how I'm going to live it. And I think that's important to be able to separate what does matter and what doesn't matter. And like people that are close to me, of course, I value their opinions, but I'm sorry, but somebody on Twitter with a furry profile picture, I can't take you seriously. Like, I just can't. I can't. So I think really staying away from it, because I think I disconnected for about a week, almost. I didn't put out my statement for almost 2 weeks after everything, because I wanted to, I wanted it to just kind of make my statement and move on with my life. I don't want to wallow in it. I don't want to like play the victim card. Like I saw somebody in a comment on my interview that I did with Carrie yesterday. And somebody was like, oh, she says she doesn't like people who play the victim card, but she's doing it. I'm like, no, I'm not asking for anybody's help. I'm not asking for people to pity me. I'm not asking for anybody to do anything for me. I'm just making it aware that these people, these angry people who find nothing but things to be angry about in their life, are somehow dictating everybody else's.
Well, they basically wanted to take your life away.
They did.
Right?
That's exactly what they wanted to do.
So take us through then, going past that part then. So what was it like then reclaiming your life basically from what got you to here now where you're at now?
Honestly, great people like yourself that have reached out to me and been like, hey, I want to talk. Like honestly, Nina Infinity, who's on Toxic Femme with me, her and I, we really clicked. and we've become fast friends. And like even Mags is in the chat, and I absolutely love the women that I've been able to chat with. And it's the absolute, like the outreach that the community kind of shared, and was like, hey, you obviously didn't do anything wrong. You are okay. Like, these are just people who are unfortunately very unhappy people, and misery loves company. And I think that really helped. I've met some really great people, because I mean, I had moved out, my husband and I moved out here to a town where I don't know anybody. I moved here to be closer to work. And it's been nice to kind of make friends that help keep me busy, help play games, or just chat about stuff. And that's really helped. And I've been focusing on, of course, my own content creation. And I have I've got a little Etsy shop that I like to do little crafts and stuff on, that crafting helps keep me busy too. And I, of course, have had my bad days, but I am one of those that I cried it out for 2 days and now I'm okay. But I've had a couple of job interviews. I had one yesterday that I think I'm constantly checking my email. But I feel good about where I'm at right now.
And has have the attacks subsided?
Yes. Yeah.
Were you blocking people?
No, I don't block people. If they want to attack me, I'll just mute them and move on. I want them to see me succeed. I want to prove them wrong. I never blocked the person who started this whole thing. I want them to see that they failed and that they do not have this power over me or the people around me.
Right. And that's what I was going to say, is that's the best way of getting back at these folks, or proving them wrong, or however you want to put it. Like you just said it yourself. And that's the best thing you can do, is just pick yourself up, keep moving forward, and turning this, what they perceive as a cancellation, into success for yourself, right? A new beginning. I think you've handled it with grace, and I don't know too many people who could have handled it as well as you have. And I'm glad that you found your way to, the YouTube and streaming community and all that kind of stuff. And we're glad we were able to share your story with everybody out there.
And so you've become an official YouTuber.
Oh God. Yeah. I have a YouTube channel. I haven't added anything to yet. I've got to learn. I used to use like Premiere Pro and all that, and I don't have access to that anymore. So I'm having to learn how to use new programs and adapt. And I need to get back to learning how to edit videos and stuff. So
from that point of view, the whole cancellation was an epic backfire.
It
from
was.
The one who tried to do it.
And both
that's
for them
my
and
big takeaway.
for the company for firing me.
And the company, has it suffered? I know there was a lot of people who are who are going to boycott it.
I still get DMs from people on Twitter showing me canceled orders because of all of it. And it's bittersweet to me, because I do feel for like the indie developers that do rely on their sales from limited run to make their living. And the last thing I want is for the indie developers to be hurt in this, because they need it. They need that help. But at the same time, I've also been having more devs than I expected in my DMs being like, hey, you didn't do anything wrong. Like, this is how they are also treating us that you don't see while you're working there. So I've gotten a lot of stories, more than I expected, from devs who have also been slighted and mishandled.
And what's the beauty is that you are now making that public, so that all of those devs who may have felt that they were alone in those experiences, although like no names have been said or something, you are not alone. You are not crazy.
Yeah,
I'm not. And that's
maybe it's time to come forward and look for some other means of distribution than perhaps limited run games, because what they have shown is that the moment there's the slightest hint of some opposition. If it just takes one tweet from one nutcase with no following who just wants to cancel for the sake of canceling, and they'll fold instantly. That's the signal they send. What if there's some content in some of these guys' games? The indie developers, I absolutely sympathize with their plight. What if someone finds something unholy in them and demands that limited run cancel their service? Limited run is gonna fold instantly, because that's the precedent that they've set, that they will be bullied. They will give into terrorism.
It doesn't matter where it comes from. Like, there will always be people who disagree with something that you do, and it's up to you to choose whether you're going to basically bow to that or learn from it and continue what you're doing and try to do it the best way that you possibly can.
Well, it's terrible that you were the target. Ironically, well, JK was also the big target. Ironically, the publisher of Hogwarts Legacy had already bent the knee many years ago, because if you play the game, you can be a witch, not a witch. Well, you've got I only know.
There is a trans character in the game.
Not just trans character, but if you're playing a wizard, you can still ask to be called a witch. So the game, independent of the trans character, is completely infused with its own kind of pronoun rules. That, again, there is no mollifying this crowd.
Well, and that's kind of the misconception with J.K. Rowling too.
Yeah,
because she has never actually said she doesn't, think that trans people shouldn't have this or that right. All she has said is that she doesn't believe that, biological women and trans men are the same thing.
Yeah, let's not go too deep, because you know how.
Yeah.
This
I get it. Yeah. But the point being is that, the game itself is proof, and there's other parts of the game, and she even has gay characters in the books and stuff like that, and all that business. So again, their whole argument is null and void. It's just redonkulous at the end of the day.
It's null and void insofar that it's hurt in a human being. So this is where the rubber meets the road, and this is what,
Right. And going back to what we were just saying before is, yes, so limited run games buckled to the gripings of one individual, and now they've put themselves in a position where hundreds, if not thousands, if not maybe more than
people are buckling,
dozens of thousands or more are going to be not buying their games anymore.
People are buckling everywhere. I have an OCD ADD programmer friend who works at a very large company, and he committed the crime of just talking to a friend at a lunchroom and said he watched a Jordan Peterson video, and someone else, I won't mention who they were or name or race or anything, was so triggered and offended, they went to HR, and while they couldn't fire him, he was hounded to quit because the guy is incapable of even barely managing his own life, because he's just a programmer that sits in a dark room and writes code.
See, and I can imagine that happening to Kara if they hadn't just flat out fired her.
Kara can actually talk.
I held my tongue multiple times.
No, but this guy can't talk to people.
There.
My friend can't talk to people. He's just not built that way.
So without that job, he's basically done.
He got another job because his programming skills are so very good. Okay. But the reason he was let go, and he loved the job, loved the people, was because the HR department was scared to death of this complainer who complained an awful lot. So
it's exhausting to have to worry about that.
Yeah, in the end, he's probably better to have gone. This individual should have been fired because they weren't even competent. But because they ticked boxes, there was no way to fire them.
Ah, I see. So it's someone that checked all the boxes.
Correct.
Means they are unfireable.
Correct.
Even if they are incompetent. So
correct.
They did one diversity hire that basically went and ruined the company.
Well, ruined this one person's life. So this is happening a lot in many places, and I being in the business in in technology. I hear it all the time. I can tell you other stories, but I won't bore you. But you have a vivacious personality. I think you're going to be a huge hit. I mean, obviously this takes work and time and things like that, but you're a welcome addition to the to this universe of social media and stuff.
I appreciate it.
And video, YouTube video. I look forward to what you're doing on your channel.
Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. Like I've been in content creation for, 10 years now. It's nothing I ever really considered like pursuing full time. It's always just been more of a hobby to me. It's something I'm not opposed to pursuing more, but it is something, especially lately, I've genuinely been enjoying it. And I've done a lot better about setting boundaries. Like I've only been streaming like 4, maybe 5 hours a day. My weekends are for me. I don't do anything work-based on the weekends. That is my time for me and my sleep and my husband and games I want to play on my own time. And I think that's important to make sure that you keep that passion going. I mean, there are people out there who are workaholics that can do it and not get burnt out, but I am not one of those people. I know what I can and can't handle. I know what my limits are. But
well,
what's
I'll
this
tell you,
thing
the
about
audience
time for
burns out
you?
from too much stuff. You have to. It's not just you, but it's the audience. They can only.
And don't get me wrong, I absolutely love the community that I've gotten recently. Like my Twitter followers and just in general tripled because of everything that went down back in January. And it's been really cool. My husband's calling me out. I do crafting, which is for my shop on the weekends. Stop calling me out. I don't appreciate it. But yes, I am not looking forward to Resident Evil 4 remake. I am a coward and I will not play it. I am a big old wimp. And there was a little horror section. There is a side quest in Hogwarts Legacy that I did not went very horror. And there's a few jump scares in there for me. But yeah, I really do appreciate you guys like bringing me in for this, like, and just being able to get to chat with you guys and talk about stuff maybe we do or don't agree on. I think is healthy. And like with the whole Willow thing, like there's parts of Willow that I enjoy and there's parts that I didn't enjoy. And like, I mean, that should be okay to discuss that kind of stuff. And you don't get enough of that. But
the beauty of this is that you get to connect with other people. And speaking of, we have some other people in the chat here who have a few things to say to you or questions they have for you. So let's go through some of those. Why don't we?
Yes, Twitter does suck.
Says, I think the real lesson here is Twitter sucks. Yes.
Twitter isn't real.
Yes.
It does not dictate my
life.
It is not real life, Paul. Mr. Tickletrunk says, Kara was fired because of hurt feelings based on twisted morality, leading to uncharitable interpretations of everything you say. Thumbs down to those mother effers. Yeah. Yep. And then we got Magitech Mags, who's also a toxic femme, along with Kara, and says, support Kara, y'all. She's got a big heart. Also, she loves Henry Cavill pics. Yes, I have to sit here and listen to these ladies drool over him all the time.
The thirst is real in toxic femme.
Check her Twitch and Twitter out. Yes, indeed. And hopefully she'll be able to get some stuff going on.
Nina's a fellow Canadian, YouTube I just should add.
That lives in Mexico now.
That lives in Mexico.
Yeah, she lives in paradise. She's
all the diversities. We always
yeah. She scores a lot of points.
Yeah. Mr. Esquire says, although I don't do unemployment law, it sounds like you might have a wrongful termination case on your hands, especially if no warning was provided by your employer ahead of termination. Just saying. And we discussed this briefly on Toxic Femme.
I do live in an at-will state, so they can fire me for any reason or no reason at all. They didn't even have to give a reason.
And of course, it's not something you'd really want to talk about, even if you were probably pursuing it at this time. Because, but on that note, there's probably some grounds simply because of the way you were terminated and the way it kind of could have destroyed your reputation and other things of that sort. So, I mean, again, we're not going to get too deep into it just in case there is a future there, but
The
Yeah.
only thing I even have considered legal wise is a defamation of character.
Ooh,
Right.
That's the
Right.
only thing
But-
I've really considered.
You know what? If there's no financial penalty, and I have been involved in legal spats, 90% of the time you're better off to suck it up and just move on, because
That's
the
kind of where I'm at.
the legal process will drag whatever horribleness you were involved in before way longer than you could ever imagine.
hmm
And it's just not worth the mental anxiety.
It's
But thank
not.
you.
And I completely agree with that.
Thank you, Mr. Esquire, and I'm sure she'll be exploring what avenues she can in the future. STR Red Wolf says, Kara, the person who caused your firing crossed the line of protest into action. I cannot trust such a radical, and I'm a furry myself.
Wow.
There you go. There's some support
I
on
love
that
you.
end.
Thank you.
Indeed. Aaron Pipe says, Kara, you need to explore suing the belly for interference with your contract. These bullies need to be sued into oblivion, and maybe that will end this nonsense. Yeah, well, we
I
just
did
covered
see
this a
that
little bit. But yeah.
JK did threaten legal action and got an apology from
Yep.
one of the people who has been attacking her.
Then she got attacked for asking for an apology.
Yep.
Yep. So you can't win in those situations.
I'm a
right?
huge
can't.
JK supporter. This
Me
is
too.
something that I have. A lot of us, I think, who consider ourselves on the left, have been dragged over to the right just because of this nonsense.
Yeah,
Mhm.
we really have. I mean, it's like, where did everybody go? Because as a center left libertarian,
That's
I'm
kind of the way I
fascinated.
was raised. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm-
See, I'm more libertarian than
Yeah.
anything.
And so I'm watching this happen. I'm like, what are you guys talking about?
Yeah.
Like,
Like, my
you were
folks are some
here
of the
like 3
leftiest
years ago.
lefties,
Why are
yeah.
you all the way over there now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's partly due to who they're cranking out of the education system.
True.
They're all very soft triggered individuals, and they're now going into the workforce. One of the things, an HR person that told me, one of the massive changes that has taken place is that a lot of the new university and college grads are going to these businesses, and they don't like the business environment. They liked the environment that they had at their college and are trying to recreate it at work, and sometimes forcing that on the employers without realizing that coddled kind of world just doesn't work.
And it
in
doesn't
the-
exist.
It doesn't.
but that's what they want. That's what they demand. And the businesses, especially the Silicon Valley businesses that have acquiesced, have suffered the most.
Yeah, and that's why they are removing positions. And look at what Facebook did: 10,000 jobs.
That's
Bye-bye.
right. Gone.
Mhm.
Yeah, again. I mean, there's always a palate cleanse. It just is sometimes a little more severe. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like
Yes,
you saw like the same week of all my stuff going down, Google laid off a bunch of people. I think Microsoft
Yep.
laid off a bunch of people. Like it's
Yeah,
Yeah.
I cover that almost weekly now, which is weird because that's usually not what I'm covering on my channel. But I'm like, wow, tech's taken massive hits lately. Yikes!
because they pandered and
Yeah.
they lost money and now they're having to backtrack.
Yeah,
And
Yeah,
on
these companies are using diversity as an amulet to cover
Yes.
up their crimes.
yes, yeah. It's a shield. We we talk about plot armor all the time. Well, that's their version of plot armor. So.
Well, and just as to go back to the last super chat, just to sum that whole thing up, the legal thing, like I said, if there's any more going forward, we're just going to have to kind of buzz past them, because even if like Kara's deciding to do anything like that, the last thing she needs to do is talk about it in a public way that could put it in any kind of jeopardy. So we got to keep that in mind too. So.
Yeah.
Jim
Move on.
Watari says, or Jim Watari actually gifted 20 Midnight's Edge memberships. Holy crap. Now we have to do a member stream soon.
Yeah,
Andre.
thank you, Jim. Yeah, stuff coming soon. Very, very
Yes,
soon.
I think we're planning on something very soon here. Magitech Mags sends in a $25 super chat. Thank you so much, Mags.
I love
Says,
you,
Kara,
Max.
yes, I love Mags too. They project onto you, Kara, jealous of you, bitter towards your success. Misery loves company, and they have to have you at their level. I'm happy to have gotten to know you. Hang on, Toxic Femme, and support a strong woman. Indeed. And you know what? That's what scares them most of all, is first of all, you were strong. You're upfront with your opinion, and you're happy being who you are. And that's what pisses them off more than anything. right? And I'm sure you already know that firsthand, but
That's why I don't block anybody. Let them see it.
let them see it.
I love blocking people. Anyone who does not consider me a god, I block.
Well, we know how that is. Mag sends in another 5. Thank you so much, Mag. It says, ironically, the same crowd that says they are pro-women aren't actually by trying to discredit you, but they can't define a woman anyway.
Wow.
Of course not.
Yep.
Yes. They don't want to get canceled. Yeah.
They are very pro using women for their cause, but the moment the woman in question no longer serves their cause, then that's a different matter. Then that
It's
woman
the whole
is-
toot it and boot it mentality.
Not only that, I was trying to warn people, like, I'm like, white women are going to be the next in line along with gay men. And it has been happening. You know, so because every time somebody go, oh, just quit whining, you're a white man, you've had it so great all these years. It's like, well, you just wait till they start coming for you.
Well, I
like,
put it down to boredom and the fact that for all intents and purposes, the main victories have been won. We've got gay marriage. There's so many things good things that have happened that there's really not a lot left. And now I don't want to get into it too deeply,
yeah,
but
because it gets
in the 70s, I marched with gay brethren to the St. Charles Tavern on Halloween, often in the rain, and 1972, and we had raw eggs and ink pelted at us by the good, straight people of Toronto, just for supporting the gay community in Toronto. And then eventually we protested against I supported the bathhouse raids in Toronto. And there was a physical price often to be paid. And we even worked to get the first gay councillor elected in Toronto. This was real politics. This was real activism. The activism that's going on now, I find insulting. It sickens me because it just isn't. And the people who didn't live through it in the 70s and had to deal with the anti-homosexual activity in our community know nothing. So what they did to you, it infuriates me on the fact that I don't know what to say. It makes me so angry I can't talk about it.
Well, and the modern gay audience would say, okay, boomer, to that whole story. But no, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm happy to have been a boomer supporting my gay friends.
Yeah, to them, you're still not doing enough, though. That's my point. Is like, yeah, you didn't.
Yeah, I'm going to cancel Kara for saying she's going to play a fucking game. That's how I'm going to.
That's what they want now.
That's how I'm going to support the community now. Go get eggs thrown at you and ink. That's what you should. That's what you should try.
That's true activism.
Yeah,
yeah, and just yeah.
But that activism is done. I mean, we're basically done. We're not. No, it's a different activism. We're bored and the big victories have and actually there's been regression.
Yes,
that's the irony is that and I'm not going to attack the conservatives, but there have always been people who have been against gay marriage that kind of shut up. Now, with trans activism and all the bullshit that's happening now, these individuals have been emboldened to come out and reawaken their anti-homosexual stand. That is crazy. And this is the
I'm not surprised by that.
This is the unintended consequence of these assholes who are trying to, not accept the fact that a 60% victory is good enough. No, it's got to be 100.
Yeah. No, I'm not surprised by the backlash in the slightest because, I'm not going to derail. I just want to point this out because what I've observed the last few years is that, as you say, victories have been won. Those that were against all the kind of equal measures that you genuinely fought for with genuine activism back in the day, you won. Those battles were won. Many did not like them, And then the next generation took that completely for granted.
Yes.
Battle was won.
Mhm.
But then you have all this pride with the rainbows in your face everywhere, and now getting so extremely aggressive, and especially the T part of the movement that no longer just wants to be left alone. No. Now you have to participate. You have to actively celebrate, and you have to alter your preferences.
Well,
And it's
actually,
now so much in everyone's faces that then the backlash comes not just against T, but against the entirety
Everyone.
LGBTQIA plus minus divided by sign, what have you not, because it's all seen as one. So this is what happens. Then you roll back earlier victories. Culture. Carry on.
and no, just to add real quickly, because you were on a roll, Andre, and I didn't want to interrupt, but I will say this, that you are now seeing a certain increasingly larger faction of the LGB part of the alphabet. You're seeing them come out against the things that have been introduced recently that are literally attacking them now and calling them other names like TERFs and other things like that. You're seeing like an element of the people who, you know, had acquired the rights through a lot of efforts, you know, to basically be treated the same, essentially at odds with what's happening with the T's and other elements that have been added recently to the alphabet. So you're starting to see some backlash from within this very loose coalition of letters, to the point where it could fractionalize into this very extreme radical side of things, and like, you know, the well-established.
Well,
folks.
it's happening already.
Yeah,
We've got groups called LGB without the T.
Right. Yeah, and for good, you know, arguably for good reason, because they don't believe the same things. I mean, the first three letters have binary connotations, and everything afterwards, not so much. So,
Well, the first three letters aren't even about gender; they're about sexuality.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the ones with genders are hijacking it.
Yeah.
And making it, trying to basically make it into their own thing and take control of and take credit for everything that the LGBTQ whatever community has done in the past.
And also, the first three, they just want to live and let live.
Yep, and love. That's it.
Yeah, and again, but I will suggest one more time. I'm just going to reiterate: the first three letters are binary. They assume not just gender, but take as well the identity, as you pointed out. So the sexual.
Well, there's no such thing as non-binary. So
thank you, but that's neither here nor there. It's after those three letters that everything starts to get a little different, and that's, you know, and you're right. You are the first three letters are going to lose ground until they stand up to this fractional radical group of humans.
Let's be careful with what we say here, because although it's obvious and common sense, this platform is very much so aligned with those beyond.
Hope I didn't say anything that was untoward there, Andre. I got emotional.
Well, if this channel is gone tomorrow, it was. So
it was a good run. We'll blame Kara.
My heart will break.
Now you'll just have to put up with us over on your channel every day instead.
Yeah. We'll move over to cultures.
Yeah, well, that'll work too. But I mean, Chato's Edge sounds kind of interesting.
Chato's Edge. That's right. I got to run, everyone.
It was wonderful to meet you.
Oh, I just subscribed to your.
Did we get this one that's on screen right now? I don't think we did.
We did not. It's been there, but a tipping barn says the best revenge is living a good life.
It's true.
Yeah,
indeed. That's kind of what we were saying before. Let's check and see. I'm sure Paul has a few here we can get to, hopefully, before he has to leave. Union of Amateur Strategists says, for Paul, I heard the phrase boot to the head, and it reminded me of something I forgot. I've been told to ask you, don't boot my head.
Right. Yeah, that's a sketch that made us famous on Dr. Demento. Boot to the head.
Boot to the head.
Yeah.
Dr. Demento was still one of the best radio shows ever.
Ever. If you were into comedy, that's where a lot of acts were that you wouldn't get airplay anyplace else but Dr. Demento.
Don't sue me. I still play a couple of your songs on Mead Radio, or tracks actually. And then we've got Action Cop who says, Chato, you are not a god.
Where's
Stop playing one. You're no good at the. You're no good at it, and the position is already taken. Block.
Okay.
There we go.
Wow, he said a god.
Wow.
There's
Oh,
Henry.
God.
This might have actually been a line in Shazam 2 for those of you who are interested. This is very similar to a nearly verbatim quote from one person to another in that film.
I see.
Maybe that's what he's taking.
No, I think it's largely coincidental. my friend.
Yeah, Jonas says, Paul, stop being fascinating. I'm trying to work.
Yeah.
I can't be as fascinating as Dylan Mulvaney.
And Mr.
Whoa,
Tickle
boy.
Trunk says, I'm glad Paul brought up what I call we've killed all the dragons for almost 2 decades. We Gen Xers didn't have much left to fix. They're breaking all the things we fixed over the last 60 years.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Over at least the last 20.
Well, I would argue that since the late 80s, I mean, we pretty much had settled lots of
Lots of
major
things.
scores. Yeah.
And not that things can't progress. It's just that there's
Well,
a group of people who've decided that
the
what's
argument-
remaining has to be the focus of everyday life.
No, that's regression.
No, it's true.
Destroying everything is regression.
I think so.
Yeah. Mr. Canoe.
But then Tennille says that Mr. Canoehead is certainly a god, though. So.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Yes.
There you go. And with that, is there any more 6? I think that's all that I can see here.
I do see the Pikachu behind you there, Kara.
Yes, it's very big. I collect Pikachus. I get the big one. I get the squish, and then I've got like all of this back here is all Pikachu
I
stuff.
collect One Punch Man paraphernalia.
Ooh, yes. Saitama for the win.
Yeah.
Love me some One Punch.
So on your way out,
there you
Paul,
go.
anything to plug?
No, that's it. I've got now officially 1,000 subscribers left to hit 100K. So
Oh, fantastic!
Get
We look
there, hell
forward to celebrating it. I mean, that one day is going to be an easy day to decide topic. So try to coordinate it so it doesn't happen at the same time. There's another really huge thing.
Oh,
in
yeah.
the media.
because mine will be huge too.
Yeah. So we're going to try to hit the milestone on a slow news day. I'd greatly appreciate it.
Will do. I appreciate the promo and all the support that you've given me. So if those of you out there, call me Chato, go to my YouTube channel. You will hear more stuff like this.
Yeah.
Well,
And the link, of course, is in the description. And that's also where you'll find the links to Kara's channel and all other places where you can follow her. Because I saw someone in the chat asking about that. And then we have one more for Paul here. The Union of Amateur Strategists says, thanks, Paul, for the good childhood memories.
That's right.
Thank you. I'm glad I let you out of the cage so you could, go and live your life. I apologize for stealing you from your parents, but I had my needs.
But don't go anywhere, kids, because we have a lot more show left, even though Paul's leaving us. So
Yes.
take
Yeah,
care
that
of
was very
yourself, Paul.
sick final comment.
I say that did not come out the way I think you intended
No,
it to.
Yep.
So
didn't intended it that way. No, I won't even get into it. Anyways, listen, Andre, everyone.
typical Hollywood freak, I tell you.
Paul.
Yeah, bye.
It was wonderful to meet you, Paul.
Love
I
you.
see you, Kara, and I wish you the best. And yeah, you'll.
I'm sure you'll see her again soon.
Yay.
for sure. For sure. She's
Anytime.
young. I'll be dead soon. She's got lots of time. Bye.
Well,
All right,
when
take
we
care.
get shut down, we're going to be invading your channel. So take care, Paul.
You can't die anytime soon.
Yeah. So let's
Oh,
get back
cool.
to the super chats that are meant for Kara. Let's see here. We got Tennille89 who says, yes, how dare you offend not Chris Chan, the gall, the audacity, the etc. Well, their loss is our gain.
That's right.
Glad to have your perspective here. Yes, indeed.
I appreciate it, guys.
Yes,
Seriously,
very-
you guys are
very
fantastic.
welcomed. Let's see here. We got a few more, I'm sure, before we can go back to the regular super chats. Well, and Tennille sent this one too because I hadn't got to it yet. Sorry about that, Tennille. Said it again. How dare you offend not Chris Chan, the gall, the audacity, etc. Yes. Sorry about that, Tennille. We just hadn't got to it yet because Paul was heading out, so we had jumped away from Kara's super chats. But with that, I think we caught all the ones that are
caught up?
specifically towards yours. Nope, we got a few more here. My bad.
Brandon.
Brandon, the anime guy, says, "For great people and one new person, Kara followed on Twitter, says you like anime. Next season starting with 30 shows, and will end on about 10. Anime is life. Isekai is, I don't understand this stuff. Tom, you know it. I don't.
I love me some anime. Love it.
We may need your services in the anime department then.
Hey, you let me know. Actually, I just picked up this figure over the weekend. I don't know if anybody likes Genshin Impact, but
I don't even know what that is. It just looks
it's a game
ish.
But she's beautiful.
I couldn't tell you what it was. That's how versed in that
and anytime anime is brought up, and there's somebody here that knows it, which is not these other two guys.
My eyes just glaze over.
Check out
it's the truth. Yeah.
Check out if you haven't already, Last Exile. It's one of the best animes.
I've heard of that one.
Yeah, Last Exile.
What part are we on for Attack on Titan? Just started back up. It's really, really good. I'm jumping between a few of them right now.
Well, Last Exile is very old, so it should be an easy find, and it's very good. It's like steampunk airship like craziness. So it's a lot of fun. Lots of airship naval stuff.
Oh wait, I think I have watched some of this.
It's extraordinarily good. So
yeah.
Brandon, the anime guy, and I have talked about it many times, and of course Trigun and all that.
I mean, I had a Studio Ghibli themed wedding, so
wow. Well done.
So very, very big anime fan in this household.
Well done.
Well, we love nerds here, and we love Mikey, the Mexican Iron Man, who is also a huge part of this channel. And he says, Kara, what's life like since being canceled over a video game? What lessons can we all learn about this type of thing since free speech apparently doesn't exist anymore in America?
Say what you still want to say and move on.
Thought this was America.
It does not matter what the subject is. You will always hurt somebody's feelings. Somebody will always disagree. And if everybody loves you, it's probably not. It's dangerous. It's dangerous if every single person around you is just like, you're right, you're right, you're right, you're right. You want that discourse. You want that difference of opinion. But yeah.
Yeah. So. And it also helps you in the times when you're doing the right thing too. So
Can I ask an unrelated question very quickly, or I guess somewhat related question?
No, I will not tell you where babies come from.
Dang it. No, Kara, did you make it all the way through Hogwarts Legacy?
Oh, yes.
Oh, wow. Okay. So I haven't finished yet. So, but how did you find the game?
I loved it. It is one of my top 5 games that I've ever played.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it very much so far. So,
I actually just picked this up. This is the art book for it.
Nice.
My God, that's huge.
Yeah. It is so good too.
I could hear it grunt when you pick it up. You're like,
it's hefty. It's a hefty book.
It's like 5 Bibles worth here.
I was just invited to be on Sacred Symbols' a spoiler cast for Hogwarts Legacy. So I wanted to make sure that I had it beat before I went on that.
Right.
And it's so good. I genuinely loved it. I genuinely loved it. I could not have asked for. There were some things that could have accentuated it. But I think what they did really, really well.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Yeah.
I've
because it would have really sucked if you'd been like, man,
lost my job over this.
I lost my job. This shit happened, and this game sucks ass. Like, yeah, sorry.
I was just curious because I'm playing 2 versions. I'm playing it, one of them on my computer, and then I'm playing another one on my Steam Deck. And I've actually enjoyed both experiences. So I was just curious. So
yeah. Oh no, it's amazing. I love it. Yes, it is a book. It's a book. Boy. It's not as big as the Making of a Hero book that I have for Legend of Zelda. That you could quite literally kill somebody with.
Wow.
Like it is. I think it's at least like that thick of a book. It's massive.
Wow. And then we've got Megs who sent in another super chat here for you.
Funding the show.
Have you watched My Hero Academia or Black Clover?
Black Clover, I had trouble with because the main character is a whiny little bitch in the first few episodes. And I have a really hard time getting through all the screaming and crying. And that's why it took me so long to finish Demon Slayers, because Zenitsu is a crying little bitch too. But I am on, I think I'm caught up on My Hero. It's good. It's really good. And yeah, I have a lot of My Hero figures, but they're all off on a little side shelf.
I love that. You're like, the lead
Big
character's
nerd.
just a little bitch. Like, and yeah, she fit right in at Toxic Femme, no problem.
Yeah, I want to try Black Clover again because I've heard it's really good if you can get past that. But it's just, I have a really hard time and with just dealing with the screaming. That's why it took me a while to get into freaking Attack on Titan too, is because everyone was crying and screaming, and it was rough. But I'm giving it a shot. I'm on Spy Family right now. And what else am I watching right now? There's a few different ones. I've really been itching. I'm a big Digimon fan, so I've been wanting to go through and rewatch the. Been wanting to watch the remake.
What?
That they
You like
did.
the Pokemon stuff? I couldn't tell.
I said Digimon. Thank you very much.
I know there's a difference.
There is a difference. Are we gonna fight on?
No, you can fight with my
channel?
kid instead.
But there's they redid the first season, and I've been really itching to finish that up. But yeah, big anime nerd.
Yeah, she says, fun anime shows. I need to watch Spy Family and Vinland Saga.
Oh yeah, Spy Family is really great. I've heard of Vinland Saga. That's the one with the Viking anime, I think. So
Yes,
yeah,
that would be about Leif Erikson, who first went to America, also seen in Vikings Valhalla.
Yeah.
Okay. I watched a lot of Vikings, but I COVID hit and I kind of fell off of it. I need to finish that though.
And I just want to say hello to WDW Pro, who sent in a $2.99 super chat and says, it turns out that merit really matters. Yeah, so this is when we're talking about the layoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then Meg says, girl, Digimon fellow friend. Well, there you go.
Good luck getting rid of me now, Mags.
And then Brandon uses a super chat to try and ask you if you would love to talk anime. He says he would love to talk anime with you. Yeah. Anime is life. Yeah, Brandon also has a YouTube channel as well.
Yeah.
So.
Hell yeah. I'm always down to talk anime.
Yeah,
Just find me on Twitter, DM me, and we're good.
Yeah, he's fun to hang out with too. I've done a couple shows with him. So yep.
So let's go back to the top here because we got a lot to go through here. And you guys have been so generous today. Thank you so much. Teague says, Andre or anyone, what is your favorite slapstick movie? Feel like you're going to say Killer Tomatoes or Bringing Up Baby. I think I might know the answer to this.
I definitely won't say any of those, though, for me.
I know it's not that.
Yeah. Well, the first thing that comes to mind is like the original Pink Panther.
I was just gonna say it.
Yeah. Maybe the party, but I think I'm gonna go with my favorite one, Rat Race from, I believe, 2003.
Oh wow,
it's not a bad one.
So I feel like the choice for Pink Panther is quite good.
Well, that's one of his favorites. I knew that's what he was going to pick.
Yeah, and I kind of could have predicted that as well. But if you're looking for a more modern film, The Whole Nine Yards was probably a little slapsticky because Matthew Perry did a little bit of physical comedy in that. But I would say that a lot of the stuff that Jerry Lewis did with his physical humor was very good.
Somebody mentioned John Cleese in the chat. And I'm actually, my birthday is next weekend, and he's going to be in Richmond at GalaxyCon. So I'm like, do I spend my birthday going to try and meet John Cleese? I'm really tempted to.
Wow.
I really want to go up to Richmond for that, just to meet John Cleese.
Well,
he's cool.
I would say Chris Farley. Probably mostly Tommy Boy. some of the best physical humor you're gonna find. Chevy Chase, that was some of his best shtick. You know, he tries to take a lot of credit for a lot of things, but the one thing that he can take credit for, I would say, would be his physical comedy. Kara, what about you?
Oh gosh. So I don't know. I do love me, of course, some. Oh gosh, Rat Race was great. I like really raunchy humor. I like the vulgar stuff. So I grew up really loving the Jackass movies.
Oh, well, that'd be pretty much in that vein, yeah.
I loved Jackass, Wild Boys, and that's my kind of humor. And I cannot, like, it shocks a lot of people that I absolutely loved Jackass. Like, I just recently watched Jackass Forever, and like the whole first scene, I don't know, it's interesting. It's eye opener once you realize what's going on. But that's my kind of humor that I really like.
Did you see the film Kingpin?
The bowling one?
Yeah, the bowling one with Bill Murray and
Woody Harrelson.
Woody
I
Harrelson.
did.
And that is, if you are
It's
looking
hilarious.
for vulgar humor, that's your wheelhouse.
Have you seen
Okay.
Something About Mary?
No.
Okay. Have you ever
Wait.
seen Dumb and Dumber?
Oh yes.
Okay, same guys who made that. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Kingpin is
need
one of their
all
better
of these
ones, yeah.
suggestions. Give me all of the dirty, raunchy humor. I'm here for it.
All
Jonas
right.
asks, is Rowan Atkinson slapstick? Oh yeah, definitely. Especially his Mr. Bean character, because it's all physical humor.
Hmm.
So yeah, pretty much anything that's physical humor. Of course, this would be a great question for Paul. Sorry we didn't get to it right away, but
Yeah,
yeah.
that'd have been great. Yeah.
And yeah, Jim Carrey was another one in the chat. Definitely need a shout out for him. And I mean, we haven't even mentioned like, oh god, now the name just escaped me. Charlie Chaplin or the other guy.
Buster
back in the
Keaton.
same- Buster Keaton. Thank you.
Yep.
I was trying to think of Buster Keaton's name. So yeah, Charlie
Or
Chaplin, and
Jackie
Buster
Chan.
Keaton.
You can bring
Jackie
that in there
Chan
as
could
well.
even be
Oh
brought in,
yeah.
especially Drunken Master. Holy
Buster
shit! Like,
Keaton is one
yes,
of those, yeah, that is a great film. It's so funny. Holy cow. Oh. Gosh, there's some good stuff.
Gosh.
Indeed.
Oh,
And then
Three
we've got
Stooges. I grew up with the Three Stooges.
Three Stooges. Hell yeah, yeah. I can't believe I didn't even think of them. Whiskey One Eye says from Vivitch Lighthouse in Northman. I do it on purpose. I know it's the witch. I think Robert Eggers will be considered a modern day Hitchcock. I don't know about Hitchcock. Who would you compare him to, Andre? I don't know about Hitchcock though.
There's really never been anyone quite like him, certainly because you would compare him to Wim Wenders and like really art house directors. That is who you would compare him with. Not someone quite as mainstream as Hitchcock.
I was going to say Ridley Scott if he could actually make a decent. Oops, shit.
Yeah, no,
You-
I definitely not Ridley Scott.
No, I
Definitely
know. I'm
not that.
kidding. It was a joke.
Yeah.
It's a joke.
No, like it would be like some art house director, which he kind of is. It's only that his movies have a genre component, which separates them from
What about
other.
Friedkin?
Alan?
No, I wouldn't
No.
say Friedkin.
William
I would not say
Friedkin.
Oh, William. No.
Like in certain art house directors, but who does genre movies, which most art house directors do not. But he kind of like
Well-
has the art house flair.
Because that's like the closest I could think of. Because like Friedkin kind of does that. He does like indie art house, but in the big movies, right? And he can shift between, stuff. But no, I see where you're coming from. Yeah, he doesn't really have a comparison. Some people have thrown like David Lynch, maybe, but no, he's even more concentrated than Lynch. But people did agree with Ridley Scott before the Alien reboots. I can see that. I was just thinking Scott mainly in the early days between like, because he could jump between, like Alien to other things, but like, and then to like Blade Runner and other stuff. But once he got too much into doing too many cuts, no, I think you have a hard time finding somebody to compare him to.
Yeah, I don't think there's a peer you could compare him to.
No.
And that's
'Cause I
not
can
a bad
compare-
thing.
Yeah.
No, because I can compare Nolan to like Kubrick. He clearly wants to be Kubrick. You know?
I can compare him to Damien Chazelle.
Yeah, okay.
A little bit. I can compare him with that. Not just that, and there are a few others that you could compare him to as well. I'm trying to
not
think
Cronenberg.
Here.
Cronenberg is
No, definitely not Cronenberg.
No,
but
not Cronenberg.
But you could compare him to Nicolas Winding Refn, a Danish director who also does like similar style. You could compare him a little bit with Michael Mann in some ways.
Oh, there's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Warachi says during the filming of how do you say this, Andre? Aguirre. Peruvian Indians approached Herzog and offered to murder Kinski. He reportedly seriously considered it. Awesome film.
Yeah, this is another true story. I'm not sure it was on Aguirre. I think this may have been on Fitzcaraldo. But the story is true though. Like the local natives, they came and they said, okay, we like you treat us well, but that crazy dude over there, if you want us to just get rid of him and continue pushing this boat over the mountain, we'll do it. But yeah.
I've never seen the movie, but I've heard the stories. That's the thing. As soon as you started talking about it, I knew exactly what you were talking about.
Well, it could have been Aguirre. I'm not sure if it was. It was one of those two, and he basically shocked and horrified people wherever he went.
Ryan sends in €5 and says Iger clearly isn't on Kasdan's Christmas card list. He's clearly pissed. I don't know. He's making excuses for them. Or not so much excuses, but he's trying to give them hope. Which I don't think is a really good idea, but yeah, I don't know. We got Charlie here who says, I watched the whole season of Willow. I enjoyed it thoroughly and enjoyed it thoroughly. This in the same way Tom enjoys Morbius. Okay, so for context, I know Morbius is bad. Like, I know it is very objectively bad, but I laugh at how bad it is. So he's basically saying he's enjoying how bad it is. I guess if you can find that kind of a joy out of it, go for it.
Just
I was pissed. I was turned off.
And giggle while you're watching it.
Yeah, I mean, if you can find like some room style stuff to make fun of in the bad acting or the bad choices, good for you. But to me, just being so invested in the characters and the way that right off the bat, you got Saoirse bad mouthing Mad Mardigan, calling him a bad husband and father. And what they did to Laura Dan, and it just, to me, it's like, wait a minute, she's supposed to be the greatest sorcerer and you made her a bard? What the hell is that all about? Not only that, you were supposed to have adopted her like a daughter, and now she's working
made her
for
a
you.
Baker.
Yeah, like what the hell is this?
A baker in the kitchens.
And then it was like, yeah, then and just to me, it was just like, nope, I'm done. Yeah. So I wish I could have found some kind of joy in it, but I cannot in this sense. Brandon also became a member. Thank you, Brandon. We appreciate that. And then he sent in $2, says, he ain't bitter at all. Yeah, right.
Skeletor voice.
He ain't bitter.
There you
I don't think Skeletor's ever said bitter. Shadow Dancer the Red Mage has been a member for 6 months and says the Caprice, the Carapace, is that what it is? Armor in
Carapace.
Carapace. Armor in Willow series was only activated by a loved one. Okay. The two loner rogues who wore the armor were incapable of finding love. Because they loved each other. Then he goes on to say a love story was required. And then Douglas Nelson says, so Willow is only kind of canceled. No, it's canceled.
It's canceled, Doug. Come on.
Yeah. Then Callum Lyle says, Kathleen Kennedy strikes me as someone aside from hating men. She seems to have a very bigoted worldview of people, but is unaware of it. Well, that's kind of like the way most wokey SJWs are, if you really think about it.
Yeah.
Very narcissistic view of the world, and everybody's, against them, and they're a victim of some type. And
there's
you
an
look
open
for
big
the
ground
negativity.
Well, yeah, no, everybody here is correct, but look, this is somebody who was carried through an entire career has earned esteem that she does not deserve. I mean, I shouldn't say earned. She's been given esteem she has not earned. She's held in high regard without actually doing much for it, and is again she's been thrown under the bus by the person that supposedly made her career on more than one occasion. So she's bitter, probably because she's been propped up by a series of men. And I hate to say it, going to sound very misogynistic, but it's the truth. Her whole career is based on the men that she was surrounded by. Sorry, it's the truth.
You're
I
not
really
wrong,
don't know
but
what all
she's
she
using
did
for all
before that.
power. Well, basically every Steven Spielberg movie was produced by her. And she produced any movie that he had produced, she also produced. Yeah. So like Back to the Future, all that kind of stuff. Who Framed Roger Rabbit, stuff like that. Yeah. And then we've got Douglas Nelson, who's also been a member for 22 months. Thank you, Doug. And then Kenneth LaRock has also been a member for a year and gifted 5 memberships. Thank you so much, Kenneth. Then we've got Granite Man, who says, keep making woke crap, throwing money into the crapper. Well, it seems a lot of companies are starting to learn that this is not the way it's going to work, but we'll see how many. We know Disney is not one of them. STR Red Wolf says, what? Huh? Willow canceled. There was a follow-up to the movie on Disney Plus. Oh, that's why nobody heard of it.
And their marketing for it was really weak too. Probably took part in why it's not going to happen again.
Do you feel like maybe they unintentionally, or no, it's not an unintentional, intentionally undermarket projects like that on purpose because they know they're more detrimental than contributory to success?
I think so. I mean,
Yeah.
I really do think they do that because the wider audience, like normal consumers, aren't gonna watch it if they if they know going in what the plot is gonna be.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to appeal to a lot of people. It's going to appeal to a very, very small portion of consumers, and that's who they are catering to, and that's not where the money is.
Yeah.
No. And then Cryam says, translation, it's going to happen. It's just on the shelf next to Ryan's Star Wars trilogy. Exactly. Yeah. Then we've got Hillis Mallory, who says, Willow worse than Batwoman? Well, and on that note, ActionCom says, no need to be hasty. Or nasty, sorry, Hillis Mallory. Both work.
I did not watch Batwoman.
Not many people did.
Why not? It's the greatest piece of television ever made.
You can't even say that with a straight face.
No, you can't. Admiral Teague has been a member for 4 months. Thank you. And then we got Blue Tiger, who says, take my love, take my land, take me where I cannot stand. I don't care. I'm still free. You can't take the sky from me. That's from I just forgot the name of the show. I'm not singing it 6, not today.
For Firefly.
Firefly, yeah.
Yep.
Jim Watari says, watch the first episode of Lucky Hank, new AMC Bob Odenkirk series, and really enjoyed it. Starts this Sunday. Yes, it's out on the interwebs.
Ooh.
Oh, there you go. That's the guy from Better Call Saul, right?
Yeah, and from Breaking Bad, and he's been around for a long time playing great roles. Yeah, he played the business partner of the basketball team owner, the Mavericks guy, in Entourage.
I liked him in the movie Nobody, where he's a retired hitman.
Nobody is great. Yeah,
I loved that movie.
Not enough people saw it because the global crisis was happening. So great film.
It was fantastic. I just loved I'm so tired of all this. Like, he's just so tired. He just looks defeated while he is like beating the crap out of people.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah.
And then we've got Cliff, who says, why is Shazam still teasing Mr. Mind? This was a missed opportunity to intermingle and introduce DC's cosmic and supernatural aspects in one story.
No explanation. The like you said, there were parts of a great film in the film I just saw. I don't know.
Well, and you got to also remember, as James Gunn pointed out, this movie was finished like almost a year ago, at least shooting wise.
Yeah.
So any of the stuff that was planned then is not planned anymore.
Maybe that's why the CG looks better than an MCU thing, is because they took a little more time working on it some more here and there. I don't know. But
that, and they probably didn't go back for the dozen reshoots they would have gone to if they weren't planning on rebooting.
You know,
like that's the other thing we got to keep in mind.
You know, what's weird is it wasn't quite, and this is this comment I made to the person I saw the film with. It's not quite as disjointed as anything recently coming out of the MCU. You weren't, there is some confusing parts to be sure. And it was oddly cut in some places, but it doesn't feel like it was a patchwork quilt that was going to fall apart at any moment. And that's saying a lot. Again, I'm not heaping praise on this latest Shazam film, but I'm going to say that.
No, but
yeah,
I can see where you're coming from. It's like it hasn't been tinkered with as much as
you're giving credit where credit is due.
Yeah. It's just it feels less movie by committee. That's probably the better way. Yeah.
Then we got Grim, who's also a new member. Thank you, Grim. And then we've got Brandon again, who says, my local manga shop which just opened, started carrying Gunpla. Yeah, awesome. I now have a new goal in life. Get Char Aznables Zaku. Diecast $300. Wow. I don't even know what that is.
I don't either.
But I hope you get it, Brandon.
I haven't watched it.
Unless it's a disease. I don't hope you get it. But if it's a disease, it's a bad thing. But then you wouldn't want it, so that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Gundam. Yes. Then we got Icthulu here, who says Shazam was amusing, but missed a chance to end on a good note with the forced cameo.
Boom! Thank you.
It should have finished with Defender, finished like Defender did, a far better movie.
Okay, so can I put a spoiler out there in the world?
I do plan to go see it.
Okay, I'm not saying anything now.
So
the answer to this is yes. The forced cameo at the end and the ending was so predictable. I mean, you smelled it coming like 2 scenes away. This was going to happen. So, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Thank you for not spoiling it for me.
I am very considerate. I have been told not to spoil things on this stream, like on Wednesday. So
That's why I didn't spoil Hogwarts Legacy for you, because I was going to ask about a certain thing. I was like, no.
Well,
You haven't beat it yet. I'm not going. No.
Yeah, please don't. No,
yeah. I won't do that to you.
I'm not even watching. Normally, I watch other people play games, right? Especially if I'm not going to play them.
I avoided watching anything because I don't want to spoil.
I haven't been watching anybody else play, right? At least, like if they just start, I can watch them. But I don't want to know. I want to play myself.
Yep, do it. I told my husband he couldn't play story in front of me because he's been playing it too. So yeah, I didn't want anything spoiled.
Oh, the new Zelda's coming out in a few weeks.
Tears of the Kingdom.
Oh, yeah, yes. Are you gonna jump on that?
Oh, hell yes.
All right, cool. All right.
I loved Breath of the Wild. I actually got hands-on with Breath of the Wild at E3 in 2016.
Oh wow.
I've been hooked ever since. Absolutely been hooked. I mean, they've got a freaking Korok right there. So yes, Tears of the Kingdom, my shit. I'm ready.
Right.
I'm ready.
All right, yeah.
Ministry of Wrongthink sends a $9.99 and says Ant-Man toys are already on shelves. You just can't see them because they're made to the scale of the movie. Oh, that was good. Abdulio says movie recommendation: Rurouni Kenshin, live action 5-film series adapting the entire manga of the same name. The anime is over the top, but the films are much more grounded. Well, thank you, Abdulio. Then Abdulio says, again, here with another 10, says, story is about a former assassin who fought in the Japanese Civil War, returning from self-imposed exile to society, swearing to never kill again, but enemies both new and old put his oath to the test. I should have done that in trailer voice, man.
Trailer man.
Yeah. Thank you, Abdulio. We got Jonas, who says that Herzog story is amazing. Insanity. Yes.
Insanity is the key word there.
Hyperguyver 2 says, confirmed by Deadline, JDF's last movie, Legend of the White Dragon, is set to premiere Labor Day weekend. Rip Skittles. JDF. That's, is that the...
Jason David Frank?
I was gonna say from Power Rangers.
Power Rangers.
Yeah.
Aw.
Well, sorry to hear that, but okay, there you go. Set your calendar. There you go, guys. Parrothead says Dracula Dead and Loving It is the best one. And then DCB Titan also agrees. Then we got a third vote from Mr. Tickletrunk.
Wow.
Here's a problem, though, guys.
Wow.
You can't have that one without the original movie. So it is a straight. Does that work? That'd be like trying to have Young Frankenstein without Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein. Does it still work? I don't know. I see the point. I just don't know if I can get behind it. Marksman 117B says there is no more despised than there is no more one more despised than a centrist. Now,
for you to say.
The Tipping Barn says aside from Peter Dinklage, Warwick Davis, and Billy Barty, are there any other remarkable little people actors who have risen to the same levels as these? Yeah, to a point. There's a few. But
Who's the one in
it's rarity.
Austin Powers?
Yeah, Vern Troyer.
Yeah.
And then there was let's see.
Tom likes little people, so
I
he
do.
knows.
I'm trying to
I
think of names.
actually saw I'm trying to remember his name, the one who was in Austin Powers. I saw him at E3. I
Vern
think I
Troyer?
saw him at E3. Can't remember his name. I know I saw somebody because I remember him. He would ride around on a little scooter. It was awesome. But
Let's see here. There was Wee Man, of course. There's Tony Cox. There's Kenny Baker. Zelda Rubinstein is considered a little person, evidently. Let's see here. There's Vern Troyer, as we just mentioned before. David Rappaport. And there was Felix Sela. And of course, Hervé Valenciez, however you say his name, from De Plane.
Hervé Villachez?
Yeah, however you say his name.
Hervé.
Hervé?
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah, so it was Vern Troyer I saw at E3.
Yeah. That's
He
what
was
I said.
cool. He was really cool.
There was Phil Fondacaro, and there was some other ones. But as far as that level, yeah, very few. Very few.
Yeah.
But Tom Cruise.
Tom, I don't know if you saw the private chat.
No, I didn't. What's up?
Take a peek.
Culture has to bail. Nobody cares. I'm kidding, of course. Culture,
care, but,
what do you care?
yeah.
What do you got coming up? Wow.
Well, I hate to leave, but my show starts in 15 minutes or less now, and I had a great time as always, and it was a great pleasure to meet you, Kara. I can't wait
really
to hang
great
out with you again. And happy belated birthday to your husband, I guess. And on that note, I really hope everybody supports Kara because she is uncancelable in my eyes.
Can't get me.
That's right. And on that note, thank you guys. Everybody have a great day. See you soon.
Bye. Have a
Take
good
care.
one.
Talk to you
Take
later.
care. Thanks for joining us.
All right. Got a few more super chats here and then we'll be caught up. John Thomas says, Tom, you should read Out of the Dark by David Weber. Dracula is the hero. Also, you didn't like Dracula Untold? It was an interesting mix of history and fantasy. No, I never saw that one.
I did like Dracula
I
Untold.
didn't see
I
it.
was like annoyed that we
Is that the
didn't
one
get
with
it.
Chris Evans or whatever in it?
Yes,
Not-
that's the one. That was the Monsterverse version 1. No, that was the first attempt at starting like a Universal Monster cinematic universe, and then it flopped. They decided, well, it didn't flop, but it underperformed. They decided, nah, this isn't strong enough to build a franchise around.
Evans,
So let's
sorry.
get Alex
Luke Evans,
Kurtzman
yeah.
in and do the Mummy. Luke Evans, yeah.
I always
exactly.
get those two mixed up. That's my
Yeah,
fault.
but anyway, so yeah, after that, that's when they tried again to launch the cinematic universe using Alex Kurtzman to direct The Mummy, and that one flopped 10 times worse.
With
than
famous
Dracula
midget Tom
Untold.
Cruise.
Yeah, but no, Dracula
Nice.
Untold. That was fun. That was like Dracula as a superhero in a sense. It was a fun movie.
That's kind of why I avoided it, but maybe someday I'll give it a shot. I had to do a cutoff because famously, I mean, Andre knows this and a few people in chat, that's probably why they're bringing it up too, is I have this thing where I have like every Frankenstein and Dracula movie I can get my hands on. But I had to do a cutoff date. And it's usually like the 2000s, because once you get past then, there are so many different like Dracula and Frankenstein movies, but they're not really. Like they just use the character and they're just crap. So like to me, Dracula Untold was just another one of those kind of things to me, where it's just Dracula in name only, not really the character.
Well, that's the case with most Dracula movies, to be fair.
Well, that's what I'm saying, especially after the 2000s, right? Like everybody's making Dracula something or other, and yeah, like even Dracula 2000, even though Gary worked on that, I'm not a huge fan of. Jesus Davila says, has gifted one membership. Thank you so much, Jesus. We appreciate that. Max Relax is a new member. Thank you so much. Neil, who's been a member for 9 months, says Critical Drinker made a point that with Willow's cancellation, more series will follow. Do you all agree with this, or are we seeing a change in media? Oh, well, Iger already said a bunch of shows are not going to happen or get canceled. So,
yeah. There are so many things there that just didn't work, that doesn't respond with audiences, and the cost can't be justified.
Some you just won't hear about because nobody gives a crap. Mighty Ducks was already canceled. A couple other ones were recently canceled. They just don't make headlines because they're not like Willow, because they're not Lucasfilm. But trust me, once one of the Marvel shows gets canceled, we'll hear about it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And no, I meant Gary Tunnicliffe. Sorry about that, Mr. Chuckle Trunk. I should have been more clear. That's my fault. Let's see here. We've got Mecha J, who says LRG Twitter account temporarily limited their tweets due to the backlash of your firing. They're pretty much determined to ignore the responses. Okay, so this is...
Oh, yeah. They turned their comments off for over a month because of it.
Well, I think that's a true sign of who really got... Yeah, I was going to say who really got the brunt of that there, huh?
Yeah. No. Did
I think
you
they
just
blocked
see
me.
in the chat?
What?
Look at private chat right now.
Oh, no.
No.
Wow. He wasn't very old either.
No.
Well, let's share it with everyone.
Yeah, let's share it with everybody. Oh my
gosh! Private chat.
Lance
Reddick.
He's
fantastic.
Passed away at the age of 60, according to this TMZ report. Most famously known for The Wire and the John Wick franchise, has passed away. Lance's body was discovered at his studio home Friday morning at 9:30. His cause is currently unclear. Says it appears to be natural. Huh.
He's a fantastic voice actor too. He's in a ton of stuff.
Oh, wow. I wonder if he's sick or something, didn't tell anybody. Huh.
Yeah.
Well, who knows? It sounds like it happened rather suddenly.
Yeah. Wow, that's too bad.
That makes me sad. I like him. And I plan on going to see John Wick next weekend. I've heard really good things about it so far.
Yeah. Is he in the new one?
I don't know if he's...
Because he played the concierge or whatever, right?
Yep. Because he went and took the doggo. He was great. Man, that makes me sad. Yeah, because he's in Destiny as well. He's one of the main voices in Destiny. Man, what a bummer.
Horrible. And that's 60 is no age.
No, that's way too young.
Yeah.
It's way too young. I'm sorry to hear that. Oh, well, hopefully he didn't suffer, and thoughts and prayers go out to his family, and hopefully we will learn more in the weeks to come.
Everybody consume some Lance Reddick content today of some sort.
There you go. Yeah, if not anything, just watch the John Wick films in preparation anyway. So, Elizabeth Young says the layoffs will continue until morale improves. Yeah, of course, Andre would laugh at that.
Good philosophy right there.
Just for some insight, Kara, I told him it was Labor Day. He's like, good, because I have extra work for you. Like, that's not what it means.
It's the opposite of that, right?
Yeah,
You don't
Labor Day. If there ever was a day to work your ass off, it's Labor Day. I mean, what else could the day possibly be about?
Anti-labor. Let me nap.
And he's like, well, it's not called Anti-Labor Day.
Exactly.
And you can't argue with him on that.
No. So I look forward to this year's Labor Day. I'm going to prepare it in advance so we can have a proper celebration. There will be overtime.
5 videos in one day.
Yeah, I'll try for that.
Praetor Live says, bro, Shang-Chi was unwatchable. I streamed from home and walked out. Oh, I got drunk just to make it through. I didn't even get that far into it, Praetor Live.
High praise there.
I know some people enjoyed it, and I know it was one of the more enjoyable of the bad Marvel films, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was one good movie in there, but the other 3 not so much.
Yeah.
And then Pinochet's helicopter tour says, typical Paul Chato. He lights the fuse, then leaves. Yeah, if we don't have a channel tomorrow, we know why. So
basically. Stephanie Janicek says, so basically Willow is the room of TV, Kasdan spoiled crybaby. Yeah, the room of TV. I don't know if that's good praise or not. Did you find any enjoyment in that way, Kara? Was there just stuff that was just so laughably bad that you found it kind of entertaining?
No, a lot of it was just pretty cringe.
Yeah.
Pretty
So
cringe. There was a couple of good jokes in it between Borman and the kid. I think his name's like Grayson or something. He's the prince that's like due to marry the princess, and he ends up on this adventure with him. He was awkward and really funny. I liked him. It was the 2 guys that I actually enjoyed the most. They were the most entertaining out of it all.
Yeah. Mario Trillo says, so Kara, have you seen or read One Piece?
Oh God, no, I have not.
Take like 20 years.
Oh, there's like over 1,000 episodes on that now, so I cannot. I can't dip my toe into that yet. I tried I think I tried around like 12 years ago. I tried to get into it, but it just wasn't my type of anime. But I know my sister-in-law quoted. I think they quoted One Piece in their wedding, in their vows. So I've definitely have been told a bit about it, but I have not watched it myself in like 13 years.
There you go, Mario. And then we got Callum who says, Kara and the others, watch Hell of a Boss. Okay.
I have that up on a tab right now, so I can look into it after this.
I will get to it sometime between now and my death, which could be next week for all we know. Way I eat, probably.
Don't even joke about that.
I know, he says that every time too.
Yeah.
Darren Hughes has been a member for 15 months and says, howdy y'all. The problem with a lot of these new film series like Willow is they are taking the name of the popular IPs. Yes. And then he goes on to say, more people might accept them if they launch their own independent thing.
Yes,
but here's
they
the
feed
problem.
off of nostalgia, and they assume that nostalgia is going to bring in this wider audience. And then whenever the wider audience gets in there and sees it, they're like, you messed this up, and now we're going to hate you for it. Because they do not respect the source material. Make something new, we will respect you more.
But we know why they won't, and it's exactly what Kara was saying. In fact, we've seen this in full display. Even in a case where it shouldn't even freaking matter, and you've been better off just making your own character, like Masters of the Universe Revelation, when they flat out said, "Oh, we gender swap or race swap this character." Sorry, race swap this character from the comics that nobody freaking knows, just because we thought if we created our own character, nobody would be able to relate to them because they're a new character. It's like, so why did you even bother doing that in the first place then? Why didn't you just create a new character? Because that's ostensibly what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right?
But they're banking off of people
Exactly.
being drawn to that particular IP, and
It
it's
has
gonna
several quadrants.
backfire.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
very rarely done right.
to them right now, the backfire is a good thing because they try to use it, right? Like the Little
Like,
Mermaid is a
you
perfect
didn't
example.
like this, so you're this type of person.
Yes, and then they can get some people to get behind them in their cause because of
You
that.
get
But
the
they
pity
want
votes out of it.
Yes. And we're seeing the same thing right now with Little Mermaid, since it's being bombarded by downvotes on the trailers and stuff. Now they're going out there trying to campaign and get people behind it by using this rhetoric that people are only downvoting it because they're racist. I shit you not, that is what they're trying to push. And we're back here again. Is this 2016 all over again? Yes. They have not moved on.
2016 broke their brains, so they're still there, even though their guy is in the Oval Office. So yeah,
indeed. And then we got a super sticker from Buttcrack Media. It's actually a pooper sticker, and oh my god, did Mr. Tickle Trunk get so excited when you sent this? I don't know why. But he let his excitement be known. Magitech Mag says, as a quarter Irish woman with a last name to prove it, can we appreciate the fact that Kara is wearing green? Happy St. Patrick's Day, y'all. What is that?
well, you're the Irish. I think
I don't
it's
know that
Sláinte.
word.
I think it's like the ancient Irish language, like Gaelic or something.
My
And
grandma pretended she wasn't Irish. That was my problem.
Right, and I think it's pronounced Sláinte. Like someone, was it Max that told me that, or someone else?
Max,
Anyway,
spell it out for us.
Yeah, I think it's like Sláinte or something like that.
Here's the problem I have.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
how
here
it
we
is.
go. Max says
Sláinte.
it. Sláinte.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah. See, I did pretty okay.
My grandma
Six
tried
says it
pretending
means
she wasn't
cheers.
Irish. And I don't know if it was because she was old enough that back then it would have been more taboo to be considered Irish or what. But like, yeah, she did not embrace her Irish heritage at all. Like I was a million other things before I was Irish. It was weird, but I looked like it. The only thing my family adopted that was Irish was the drinking. Action Cop says, Andre, what do you think of AI CEOs? Do you think they'll work? Will they have the courage to hire the best and fire the worst? Will they lack vision and imagination, or are they just good contestants for Jeopardy?
This
AI
is a
CEOs.
very good question. Thanks, ActionCom. And I know why he's asking this, because I saw a story that in Hong Kong there was some company, I think it may have been a game developer, if not it was some other IT company, where they basically just had an AI run the company using like management principles, investment principles, stuff like that, and the company apparently did better than ever before. So what I will say is that that depends entirely on which kind of company it is, what kind of environment it has there, and what it has been programmed to do. What are the restrictions of the programming? That's the really big one. But before moving on, I want to hear what you others have to say. So, Karel, say for instance that your next employer, say you get like a new job opportunity tomorrow, and the boss is an AI, or the CEO of the company is an AI. What do you do? Is this something to be excited about, worried about?
Ooh, I mean, it depends on what they're trained to react to. Are they more focused on productivity within the company? Or are they more focused about what other people perceive the company to be? Depends on where their priorities lie. I personally don't like the idea of it, but it would kind of depend on if they bend to the will of a loud minority or not, or if they're solely focused on just putting out good work.
First thing I do is call Sarah Connor. And
yeah,
no
actually, need for Skynet here.
Yeah, no, I'd tell the machine that it obviously is working well because it picked me to work for the company. No, just kidding. No, Andre, it scares me. It scares this AI thing. I'm not surprised in a situation like this that an AI could do a better job than humans could do, because unfortunately, when it comes to power and money, people tend to fuck things up more than anybody. So I can see where having an AI CEO would actually be a good thing, but I could see it opening a Pandora's box beyond belief.
Yes, that is
Yep.
the big issue. I see two issues. One is, as I said already, is what is it programmed with? What are the parameters? Because you have like a number of AIs out there already which have been programmed with basically to be ideologues. It's part of their programming. Instead of like Asimov's 3 robot laws, they're programmed to be woke. And you have like plenty of videos and articles and stuff like that exposing that and finding funny ways around it. But the bigger issue is that no machine should ever be put in a position to lord over humans. I mean, did not Battlestar Galactica warn of us this? Did not Terminator warn of us of this? Did not all the fiction of the last century warn of us this? So why the hell have they tried their best to make Skynet, basically? That's what this is. I mean, this thing right here, I'd be happier if they deleted the source code and smash any manual and deny the programmers behind it from ever doing this again. Because no good can come from this. The only thing that can come from this is mass unemployment, horrible economy, misery, unhappiness for all. No good can come from this. Well, it'll be good for like the owners of the company if they find like some way of like, okay, brilliant, now let's fire 90% of the staff or something.
I was just going to say, yeah, the AI will tell you to fire the staff and use more AI.
Yeah, exactly. No good can come from this. So I'm completely against it. I think it's a horrific idea, but of course it's the logical endpoint of the Gillette timeline, as I like to put it. But yeah, no. Terrible idea, very dangerous precedent to set, but I am afraid that we're going to see more of it.
I agree. There's too many things that are trying to implement AI into it right now.
Yep.
So I'm not
Very
here
much.
for it.
Our whole lives are pretty much run by it now. That's the problem. Pinochet's helicopter tour says Horizon Zero Dawn won't be the same without Reddick. Yeah, that's sudden and sad news to hear about this morning here on the channel.
Sad.
Latino Slants in the house. Hey, Paulie. Says catch Paulie, Pablo, and Diego on Midnight's Edge Espanol at 9 a.m. Pacific time. Guest will be Alex Montano of the Burnett Works. So check him out. There's the link as well. Thank you, Paulie, for bringing that up. And check out our Midnight's Edge Espanol crew tomorrow morning on the show. Shadow Dancer the Red Mage says the Little Mermaid downvotes are because of the Melissa McCarthy, maybe? Maybe.
I don't think so.
Honestly,
like Melissa McCarthy as Ursula.
I was just going to say, we were talking about it this week.
Yeah, we talked about that in Toxic Fed that I really like. I think Melissa McCarthy could pull it off.
Like everybody's surprised. We're like, yeah, she was one of the few things in the trailer that felt like the original. Like she's got the laugh down and, you know, the mood of the scene was well done, but the rest of it, not so much. Yeah. But yeah, it's got to be rampant racism, as Six says in the chat there. Yeah, clearly. John Thomas is speaking of Little Mermaid. Universal just put a shot across the bow at Disney. Teenage Kraken. Kraken is a good girl, and a very Ariel-looking mermaid is the evil one. Yeah, we watched this yesterday on Me. Did you guys catch this trailer yet for the Teenage Kraken movie coming from DreamWorks?
No, this is news for me, but I'm sure.
In the trailer, like the basic setup is like there's this girl who's a Kraken and she's pretending to be a teenage human, and a mermaid comes to her school. And I think it's her grandma or whatever ends up telling her true nature, and that is she's a Kraken, and Kraken's natural enemies are the mermaid, which the mermaids are the worst things in the world. And this mermaid that they have that shows up in her school looks just like Ariel, like the old Ariel, like the original. So it was a clear,
I see it.
clear shot at Disney, right? Like it's like, oh man, they did not hide that at all. Like, yeah,
that's adorable.
Yeah. Six got the link here. Let me see if I can bring it up. So you guys can see what I'm talking about. But I mean, the movie itself looks kind of cute. I mean, it's kind of in that more Pixar Disney range. But yeah, like it's pretty clear that who they're using as a
Inspiration.
model or inspiration, yeah, for the mermaid character here. Clearly looking like Ariel. So yeah.
Yes.
And there's
I
some
love
other
it.
shots that make her even look more like it than that. But yeah.
Well, now I need to watch it just so I can see another another company take a shot at Disney.
Yeah. And that's something DreamWorks is built on because that's what Shrek all that was. Shrek was just a big
Yep.
shot at Disney because
It really
of,
was. God, it's been
yeah.
so long since I've watched that.
Yeah. And then we've got a couple more super chats here and we're almost done. Tommy Review says Netflix's Resident Evil show should have been the canary in the coal mines for these woke TV shows. Good riddance on Willow getting canned. Well, hopefully they put 2 and 2 together. That's going to be the thing, right, Andre?
Yeah, let's hope. But I think that they are aware, but there's other things preventing them. It's not lack of awareness. That's the issue here.
Yeah, you're probably right about that. And then Midnight Eye says, with a very generous $20 super chat, thank you. Best raunchy comedy? Euro Trip.
Oh, yes.
That's a good one. Raunchy anime comedy? MM. And To Love Rue. Great animated Czech Space Adventure Cobra. Series Not the Movie. And Midnight Eye Goku for Space Opera's Future Diary for Psychological Thriller. Well, thank you for the recommendations, Midnight
a
Eye.
raunchy anime. Space Dandy's great and Konosuba's great. I like raunchy anime too. Like raunchy comedy anime, not just like big booby porn anime, but like comedy anime. So
there we go. And I think we know who we're going to give a call as soon as we get this anime channel ever up and running, Andre.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah,
don't even tempt me. I will.
Oh no, it's been something that we've been
line.
talking about it. So yeah.
I will be first in line.
Yeah, Midnight Edge anime. It's happening at some point.
And with that, we are caught up, and we want to thank Kara so very much for her time today, for sharing your story with us, all the stuff that you've gone through, what got you here. It's not too often that we actually get to talk to people that have been canceled, but it is also a good reminder that not everybody who is canceled is somebody who's a movie star or somebody who can necessarily fall back on, their means. A lot of people that have been canceled are teachers, police officers, people like you who are working, behind the scenes and aren't, up front and well known. So it does affect what I would call normal people, not just celebrities.
And I would also say that is the most tragic cases, because a celebrity very, very often they have
easily bounces back. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Whereas for just normal people, what are they to do? They suddenly lose their jobs. If anyone Googles their name, they're going to be unhireable. Pretty ruined.
Yeah. Well,
so thank you again, Kara.
Thank you. I've enjoyed chatting with you guys, and I love me some pop cultures, anime, movies, all the games. If you ever want to talk any of those, you just let me know. I'm down.
Oh, we'll definitely want to have you back on the morning show. And of course, you're already welcome anytime on Toxic Femme. Like I said, you fit right in there. So we're glad to have you on the channel. And it looks like a lot of the chat is agreeing with us that we need to bring you by more often. Blah. Can't talk.
Hell yeah. Anymore. I like you, chat. You're beautiful.
I think we need some food in us.
I'm so hungry. My stomach is growling. I messaged Tom in the chat. I was like, I'm hungry. I might need a dip soon.
I know.
Like
I know
My
exactly.
stomach is like yelling at me.
These guys know once I start getting low, like I start just going blah blah blah, and it's like whatever.
But your IQ drops with your blood sugar.
Exactly. It says rip Lance Reddick. Yeah, just horrible news this morning to hear about that. So. Yeah, thoughts and prayers go out to his family. But again, thank you, Kara. So check out her links in the description. You can find her there. And I'm sure the mods have also been throwing them up throughout the program. And we also want to thank Paul and Culture as well for joining us this morning. Anybody else I'm forgetting, Andre, or anything else I'm forgetting?
No, I just, again, check out Paul tomorrow. Check, of course, Kara Lynn's links in the description and that of all the other panelists. And be on the lookout for more videos dropping this weekend.
Awesome sauce. And then we got Sherogami, who says, Andre, a Butlerian jihad within the next century.
Yeah, I was thinking that too, because this, of course, is a reference to Dune, and the origin story of Dune is basically also
Crap.
the rise against the machines with
Uh-oh.
AI, which is why they have all of this manual labor, and you have mentats and the witches and everything like that. It's because it is forbidden in the Dune universe to make a machine in the likeness of the mind of a man, or something to that effect.
Yeah. No thanks.
And no, it does not kill us to thank you, Six, because thank you, Six, if it wasn't for you, we would not be able to do this show. You are the spine of the program. You're the producer. You're in the background, making sure we don't miss any super chats and everything gets paid attention to. So there you go. Thank you so much to Six and all the other mods for all your help. And Action Com sends in one more super chat and says, watch YouTube video, Toys Are Me, rip Lance Reddick. Yeah. Toys Are Me. I got to see that. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I need to go look that up.
Now that the Action Com said to check it out. I wonder if it has something to do with Toys R Us.
I have 3 statues to go and box now after food, and I'm
I
very
get yelled
very
at
excited.
all the time for my toy buying, Kara. I feel your pain.
My husband is an enabler, and so I mean, yeah.
Well, here's the thing: is I live alone because I don't need that kind of negativity in my life where people are telling me to quit buying shit. So, no, and my kid ain't gonna tell me nothing. So, yeah, no, I get yelled at all the time by Mikey though, so that's a problem. But yes, do check out all the places you can find Kara. Hopefully, she gets some YouTube videos up pretty soon. That'd be cool too. But you play games and do all that kind of stuff on Twitch already, correct?
Yes, right now I am going through my first experience with Final Fantasy VII. I'm playing the remake. I just recently beat Hogwarts Legacy last week. And I don't know what I'm going to play next after this. I'm kind of debating on doing a full playthrough of Skyrim, but I don't know if I want to succumb myself to that type of commitment. But there's that. The options are endless. But yeah.
Awesome. And Grumpy Old Ninja has been here for 2 months at the Midnighter level. Thank you so much, Grumpy Old Ninja. And with that, Andre, is it time?
With that, it is time for some koalas in the rain.
Koalas in the rain, koalas in the rain, no fucks given. Koalas in the rain.